Speak to my face, I'll see what's underneath. You say you're scared, I don't doubt it. Skin I just don't need. I hold my eyes in my skull. This is the real me. I just can't pretend you won't.
Hello, community. I'm Lord of the Fly, and welcome to another episode of Consider the Following. With a K this time. Massive shout-outs to Eric Z19 for the awesome graphics you just saw and the upgrade to our intro. Is the K an improvement? You make sure you let us know. This week, some of our topics are going to include online, and is it valuable to competition or just Rahelios? Which scene is actually the best, excluding Lebanon and Damascus? MKX variations and the new tournament standard. What are Bane players going to do in MKX? Are they still going to suck dick? All coming up next. Now, in case you didn't know, last week we had our first ever episode of Consider the Following. This show is in the format of a game, where each topic discussion grants points to those with good opinions, and to those who are stupid, points get deducted. Last week, King Hippo hosted, and through tough discussion, yours truly, Lord of the Fly, came out on top as the winner. If you don't know, the points really don't matter, much like the panelists today. So why don't we go ahead and quickly introduce everyone. Please state your name, your main in Injustice, and the character you wish to main in MKX if everybody in the MK universe actually was in MKX. Starting with King Hippo.
Hello, I'm King Hippo. I play Deathstroke in Injustice. And in Mortal Kombat X, even if everyone was still back, I'd probably still play Kano. Because he's bad. Look at him.
Yeah, Kano's pretty awesome.
Any guy that just goes, hello, boy, lovely, you gotta play him.
All right, very nice. Thank you, King Hippo. And HomeLee, you're next, buddy.
Mushi Mushi. HomeLee.
Alright, you can stop the show. HomeLee has already won today. I allow him to have a 2-point advantage going in.
Oh, I'm HomeLee. I play Batman, of course. And when MKX comes out, I will be maining Ninjutsu Scorpion because he's just a badass.
You're getting narrowed down to the specific variation?
Yes. And I'll have a secondary if Havoc is in it.
Oh, I like Havoc. Points for Havoc. Yes, we're giving out points in the intros, ladies and gentlemen.
HomeLee's killing it right now. Jesus.
All right, next up, Saucy Jack.
Shalom. I am Saucy Jack. I play Superman, the Jew of Steel, in Injustice Gods Among Us from the creators of Mortal Kombat. In MKX, you said everyone from the MK universe, huh? Well, I mean, in my world, in my MK universe, the Lin Kuei someone has kidnapped Nightwolf, and there's now Cyber Nightwolf, so that's what I'm playing. Robo Wolf, get at me.
Okay. Robo Wolf, that's a kind of a interesting twist there. I'm down though.
He'd be tight, man, and you'd be in for that. But yeah, man, Cyber Nightwolf, that's what I'm going to start campaigning for, or Kano, because he's awesome. And it's sad that me and Hippo agree on that, but Kano's the shit.
Yeah, he's fucking tight.
Cyber Nightwolf for MK. Should I make a threat? Can Chrome pump it for me?
I think you should. I think you should do it. All right, and lastly, and not leastly, Cool Whip.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Cool Whip. I main Batman and Injustice. I'd definitely main Kung Lao in Injustice if he's there. Otherwise, probably some other original character. And that's it.
Awesome. And just because I didn't do it earlier, I currently main Nightwing in Injustice, and in MKX I would probably main Raiden and or a combination of Nightwolf or Scarlet if they are in, which they are. So there we go. So good intro, everybody. I hope you guys are prepared with good talking points because points are going to be stingy tonight, okay? So be prepared. We have a few good topics. I'd like to go ahead and start off, though, with injustice overall as a topic. And I want to talk about the whole concept of online and its value. It seems that there's been a lot of debate recently between the value of online versus offline and what it actually provides a player. And I'd like to go ahead and start with Saucy Jack and find out what his thoughts on the matter are.
I'm a well-known offline player. Team GGA as a whole, there's a little online play, but not super serious. On the other hand, I was a big-time online player in my younger days, and I believe there is value for online. I believe that anytime you are playing the game at all, there has to be some form of value that you get out of it because, you're playing the game. Anytime that you spend is good. However, what concerns me is that people tend to go ape shit on Twitter and test your might and with their friends and PMs and all over the place about how much they understand the game based on online play, and I get concerned that a lot of people are incapable of differentiating the fact that the online game is not the same as the offline game, and I am not saying better or worse. I'm just saying it's different. You could actually view it, in my opinion, as Injustice Offline and Injustice Online literally are two separate titles. Yeah, they share characters, but the game is different. So I'm saying I don't think there's no value. There's anytime you're playing the game, I think you're leveling up in some way, shape, or form, and you can learn a lot of stuff from it, but I still believe that people put too much stock in online play. Matchups are different. They have to be played differently, and it can give people the wrong impression when someone wants to be an offline tournament player, but the information that they're getting is based on online gameplay.
That's a good point. So would you say that Cat Dash is punishable online?
My days of playing Justice Online are long gone, but I will say when I was playing it, no, I felt like it was plus frames. And I'm sure that's not the only move. Reptile Dash and MK9 was like that. It's just not the same. And I actually, Cool Whip might have a different point of view here because every time he plays someone online, it's probably international, so it might be even worse for him. But yeah, to give you your direct answer to Cat Dash, no, that's plus frames online.
All right, that's a few good points there. 2 points for the initial response, then extra point for adding Reptile Dash from MK9. I want to hear from HomeLee though. You're a online player, would you say?
Yes, I definitely am.
So what are your thoughts on this?
So my thoughts on online, it's definitely, in my opinion, I feel like it's definitely a double-edged sword. Online's great for, learning ins and out of characters, just to get when you first get the game, it's a basic feel. You're jumping online, you're learning the game, you're learning other characters. It's a good learning tool for, the initial part of the game, But the negative part that comes in, I feel like the mentality of an online player that you gain is just, if you don't play offline, you gain a really smug attitude, I used to play a lot online, right? And then I played a lot of Street Fighter 4 when it first came out, and I got to the point where I felt like I was so confident I could just random pick every time I play someone, I beat them, and it made me feel like I was really good at the game, and I was like, I could beat anyone that came my way. I came out with a really cocky attitude, and when I went to an offline tournament, I got bodied bad. It just felt way different, and then I went in, telling people, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna body you, you're probably free. It's just a really bad mentality to go in, especially if you're going to a local and you're expecting to meet the people that you're gonna be playing with later on in the future. You don't want to go in with that attitude. They're just gonna make you. They're just gonna hate you. They're like, you're an asshole. You're smug. We really don't want to play with you. Which is, it's kind of like how Raw Helios is a little bit. I feel like his comments always are like really smuggy attitudes. It's like the oh, you haven't played me, and like it's like low tier god too. Like he plays offline or online a lot, and then he got bodied by Viscount, who doesn't even play the game, and he claims that Street Fighter is a horrible game.
You're talking about Street Fighter though, not Injustice.
Well, I mean, online it's like the same thing. Like when I first played online a lot in Injustice, I thought it was pretty good, and again I got that smug attitude. And then I went to a local, and that's where I first met Saltface, and I got bodied by him pretty hard. Fortunately, he didn't play in that local, and I still won that tournament. But the person that I played in Grand Finals, he was also an online warrior, and he had a really shitty mentality too. He was just complaining a lot. He was just like, "Oh, this doesn't happen." Online gives you a bad mentality, in my opinion.
Okay, so is that like something that's universal though for all online players? Hippo, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, first of all, Ken, back in your day, when was that with the Real Merchant of Venice?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a dude. Get at me, bro.
All right. Anyways, so the real talk is that I think online, coming now that I've started to play Killer Instinct, where most majority of players are playing online, the fact that they didn't have a forum, as much as that sucks socially, I think it helps the game a lot, because these guys that just played Killer Instinct and are homegrown aren't cocky big dude. Guys like Grims and some of the other guys that got like top 8 at Evo and are mainly online guys they don't really have an attitude. You don't hear them like talking a bunch of crap or anything like that. They're just playing the game. And the big thing was they didn't have forums. And I think Tester Might's not mature enough to handle. Like, for example, when you're playing online, you're probably cultivating what it's like to play the matchup. Any matchup that you're playing against, which is fine. Even though it's online, you lose a little. I mean, there's little nuances that probably you miss while playing online, but you can get the big picture, which is good enough. The problem is we have guys that report scores to their buddies and then brag about it privately, which starts just starts a whole bunch of crap.
Well, and some people brag publicly, don't they?
Brag publicly and privately. So you have guys like playing to win won't shut up on Twitter about their scores. Guys like Raw Helios that won't shut up about their scores. M2 Dave won't shut up about their scores. Shut up about the scores, please. I can't put it in enough words how much nobody cares about how bad you beat somebody online. Nobody cares. Just stop with the reporting of the scores. Have the maturity to understand that you're playing the match and it doesn't really matter who won or lost. That's the only thing. The forums and the immaturity of the users there have ruined the idea of using online as a tool, because then it becomes this whole game of no one wants to play online. Max, your boy, Ken, doesn't want to play online because if he gets bodied, he knows that everyone's going to report the score and blow him up. Not that they can't blow him up. I'm not saying you can't take the piss out of someone. The problem is now it's life or death, because people are going to report the scores, and they're going to live stream it and do all this cockamamie things, and it just makes it's all dumb. That's the problem. Just need to have the maturity to handle it, and they just don't have it.
To me, it comes back to what the standard is, right? So some people, the standard is online play, and to other people, the standard is offline play, and it's not the same standard. And so you have people that are constantly going to brag about a variant of standards, and that's a problem.
I think that's a huge problem. I think ultimately, to me, in my opinion, the standard should be, okay, who sacrifices the most just to play the game? And in my opinion, you buying a flight, buying a hotel, paying that registration, that's a big gamble to go do something good. In my opinion, that's why that is the ultimate arena of skill, because there's so many other factors beyond just raw playing ability. Whereas online, I mean, who's not comfortable online? Like, that's, to me, is the problem. Like, I mean, that's ultimately the problem when people talk about these kind of things, but it doesn't really have anything to do with matchups, because there's other factors at work there. So I don't think that's that big a deal, the spectrum, because I think everyone really knows, like, okay, if I'm spending a lot of money to go something, it probably is the real deal. That probably means the most. But I think people just aren't, for some reason, they get all chest poundy over beating someone by 3 games and want to talk about it. I don't understand.
Well, that's because I mean, this is the problem with games and all this nonsense in general. Everyone, well, 99% don't have the outlet or the ability to go to these tournaments, which I understand. Not everyone can make appearances at a tournament and stuff like that. And their only outlet is to play online, and everyone needs to feel important. And that, to me, is what the real problem and issue is. The problem is that everyone is just looking to wave their dick around and say, check it out, bro, this shit's 2 inches bigger than yours. Everyone just wants to say that their fucking shit's bigger, and that's a huge problem when you're looking at online, which is, unfortunately, it's a different game. I don't know. My problem is just that it turns into a huge pissing contest.
We've got 2 minutes left on this segment, and I want to make sure Cool Whip gets a chance to speak his piece. Cool Whip, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts is I've been screwed. Everybody talks so much, and I get 2 minutes. All right, I'll make the most. Here's the thing. As somebody who mainly has to play online due to lack of offline competition, I think what I've come to terms with and what actually ultimately helped me is understanding those differences, understanding that even though for the most part I have to play online, thankfully I've found some people to play with when it comes to Injustice and MK, but when it comes to playing online, as long as you're conscious about the fact that it's a different game, it can be useful. A lot of tournament players play online. I wouldn't call them online players, though. I think there's a difference between an online player and somebody who plays online, if that makes sense. And there's definitely a difference between those and an online warrior, which is a whole other type of trash, to be honest. But the idea is, yes, online you can get matchup familiarity. I don't want to call it matchup knowledge because things do differ a lot, but you can get familiar, how to fuzzy, player tendencies as far as, what do Batman player, for example, tend to do in general. Getting familiar with some setups, especially in a game like Injustice. I mean, if you're playing characters like Flash or Wonder Woman for the first time, not for the first time, but if you're not too familiar, you can at least see those setups and then maybe see what you're getting blown up by and take it to the training mode, which is good, and try to get counters for that. So online can be useful if you are mindful of the fact that it is online. It is not good. I mean, I love NRS games, but online for NRS games is just not that good. And if you get an understanding of differences in meta, I mean, back in MK9, you weren't going to develop your counter poking online. In Injustice, you are not going to be able to consistently blow up dash attempts, consistently blow up wake-ups online, shit.
That's the timer. -7.
Damn.
I'm just kidding. Finish your point, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Fly. You're a much more understanding host.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sucking up.
Well, so the idea is there is obviously value for online, especially if you don't have much of an option. But I think it's a mentality thing. If you're aware of the things you need to be doing to truly be good at the game, and when you're playing online, actually be aware of that and try to make sure you ditch the online habits. I think that's the most important thing. I think whether we like it or not, if you play too much online, you are going to develop some bad habits. So trying to stay away from those when you play offline is important. And in the end, I'd say there is definitely value as far as character variety too, and you can always luck out and play somebody who's good and turns out that they're your training partner and they can help you test out some shit. Obviously, the ratio of really good players to scrubs is shitty online, but there's always that possibility. So I wouldn't say there isn't value, but if that's all you're basing things on, then you're not doing it right.
Well, those are all good points. I'd say at this point, I've got Hippo and Saucy Jack tied at the moment. HomeLee, you were way behind until you decided not to bring up your Asian heritage, so you gained a point for that. And Cool Whip, you had some really reasonable posts, so you're tied with HomeLee for not being racist, and Hippo and Saucy are in the lead. Moving on. Through the lifespan of Mortal Kombat, we have had a variety of scenes come up, rise, and fall. During MK, we had scenes like Valley Stream Monsters killing it, and then through Injustice, we've had Wednesday Night Fights come and rise up. We've had GGA almost consistently through the entire thing. Atlantic Combat's been in there. Even Houston Combat. Who are the best local scenes throughout the lifespan of Injustice? And are they going to maintain their status through MKX? Who's going to rise to the top? What's going to be the best scene to look out for? Let's start with Hippo.
Well, I got to say, during Injustices and Mortal Kombat's time, I did have a bigger local scene myself, and Injustice didn't really have that. I kind of missed that. But luckily, I was able to experience Wednesday Night Fights more than a few times. A nice atmosphere. Ultimately, I was never comfortable there socially. I felt like a lot of the people, like the rivalries maybe were a bit too intense. I feel like there was a lot of bitterness going around. And I think, their scene eventually ended up dying out significantly about 4 to 5 months ago. It really, really died down. And it's a shame. I know there's a lot of bitter feelings over there. I'm not quite sure I understand why, but it is what it is. But ultimately, I think my favorite scene in Injustice has to have been, I swear I'm not sucking up, but GGA was always fun. It never let its feelings about the game overtake what the stream was about. You know what I mean? You had guys on the East Coast who were unbearable on Twitter. You had guys on the West Coast who were unbearable on Twitter and they would just trash the game. And ultimately, why would you, I know I'm saying ultimately a lot, but why would you tune into their stream if they don't even like the game that they're playing? So I give props to GGA because they really did enjoy what they were doing and had fun while they were doing it. They learned how to have fun doing it.
Well,
while these other guys just played.
Which was the most dominant scene in your opinion through the Injustice lifespan? Not who's the nicest guys, but who is the most dominant scene?
The most dominant scene has to have been forged from Wednesday Night Fights. Theo dominated 2014.
So even though their scene had a lot of bitterness and may not maintain that through MK, maybe due to its Capcom roots, but you think they were the most dominant. Are you saying that Capcom players are better than NRS players? Is that what you're saying, Hippo?
No. I don't think Capcom roots have anything to do with it whatsoever.
Okay.
I think Filipino Man was good. Theo was better. And Theo's homegrown from MK and otherwise, so I don't think Capcom had anything to do with it.
Hold that, Capcom.
What the hell was that? I feel bum rushed on the show. Were we going to talk about how weird that was?
No, we're just going to ignore it. You have to hold that.
All right.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. So you next, Saucy. What are your thoughts on all this? I mean, besides the GGA upplaying, who was the best scene except GGA, and who's going to maintain their dominance?
Well, since I cannot talk about the actual best scene, I would have to give a nod as well. Sadly, not sadly because of the scene, but sadly because we're just agreeing. To Wednesday Night Fights, the Theo running roughshod was really damned impressive. And you know how when you're looking at divisions in sports, for example, the good divisions are the ones that are top heavy. It's where even if the crappier teams, there could be a few of them, but if the top notch team is beating everyone around the country, then you're still going to look at them as a good division all the way around. And that's kind of how I feel. Even though Wednesday Night Fights had some issues, and like all scenes, it's not perfect. Not every player there is Theo 2.0, but his dominance alone carries the scene. And I know I'm going to get blown up and East Coast bias and all that nonsense, but the thing is the East Coast is fractured, and that's why I don't know how to put the scenes together. Sonic Fox is often lumped in as an East Coast guy, which he is from where he lives, but it's not the same scene as the Break, your KDZs, your Armas. Sonic Fox is not a part of that. It would be as if if GGA was also claiming Ohio or something because we're both Midwest, so hey, we get King and Playing to Win as well, and Perfect Legend, and you guys can all hold that. It doesn't work that way. So I don't want to slight the East Coast and people say, oh, look at you, you're just being a dick. It's just Sonic Fox. I mean, if Sonic Fox is a scene unto himself, him and his brother in his basement, then they're currently the most dominant. But as an overall group, you have to give them love. Although, one last thing, I will give a secondary shout-out to Florida. You have White Boy and Newbie, who have both had a pretty damn fucking solid Injustice career. Each of them have multiple top 8s. Each of them have done well at a ton of tournaments, and that will also carry a scene. So Florida gets an extra nod for being strong.
Is that not just Doomsday?
No, that's not. Doomsday is a great tournament character, but I mean, it's not like I'm giving you 2 Martians or something like that. They're really good players.
All right, so I want to hear from Cool Whip next. What are your thoughts on all this?
I'd also like to give a shout out to Florida for introducing us to the greatness of gross. But other than that, I would say, obviously, to the shock of everybody listening, Ghost Battle series has been my favorite, both in terms of entertainment, the level of play. I think the dedication, the passion, you feel there's a positive vibe when you watch it on stream. So I think that really, it played an important part in not necessarily prolonging the life of the game, but spreading positivity, and actual real positivity, not the forced shit we're having to deal with now. Because I think Injustice in some ways brought up, not necessarily the game, but the era of Injustice brought up the worst in a lot of people. So it's always refreshing to see people who just enjoy the game, and you can actually see tangible improvement from week to week and learn a lot while watching, while being entertained. I would give the Break a shout out. At least, a lot of the guys there some of them at least have a love-hate relationship, Rico Suave, KDZ with the game or whatever, but they're all very good players. Jupiter kind of made his name in at the Break, and he turned out to have quite an impact on the game. Darth Armor, I think, contributed a lot to Batman as a character, and say what you want about KDZ, but, he is the EVO champ, was the EVO champ, and guys like, I know Zyphox was going there for a while, Rico Suave. So for a while there, the Break was actually, I wouldn't say can't miss stuff, but it was actually one of the most prominent scenes, and they produced a lot of enjoyable gameplay. So I mean, I think that's probably been the one really positive thing about the Injustice era, the rise of locals, the rise of weekly tournaments, too. I think, GTA used to stream all the time in MK days, but there's a difference between watching, Han and Dizzy just do all sorts of broken shit for 40 minutes in Mortal Kombat, which was awesome. Don't get me wrong, seeing Han doing... Oh, God, Cyrax was dumb. But, a tournament, albeit a weekly, among just a few people, it's something a bit more serious, I want to say, in a way, just as far as maintaining your attention. So whoever started that trend, I honestly don't remember, but whoever started it, the weekly tournaments, started a very, very positive trend, I think, and ended up having a really good impact on Injustice on the whole.
Interesting, because I would look at this and I would say GGA was by far the most entertaining, and I think it is shown through their love for the theatrics, meaning like the whole professional wrestling thing, which has been made infamous through the KTP. But I think they've got a lot of that kind of nuances to them where it's really theatrical. But as far as dominance goes, I would throw my hat into the Break ring due to the fact of just how many players from their scene that have made top 8 or have won major tournaments. I mean, I don't know. HomeLee, what are your thoughts on this?
Like by like viewing locals for entertainment, GGA is honestly my favorite. It's always awesome to listen to Bit doing the commentary. Honestly, his blow up on Merc was like one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And when he said, "Hold that, I'm playing MKX," I laughed my ass off. I was like, "That's fucking awesome." And like just watching their players grow and learn, just getting better at the game on a weekly basis is really, really awesome. Like I'm about to just compliment Saucy Jack here. His Superman has leveled up tremendously, and every time I watch it, I'm just like, man, he's gotten really good. And it's just great watching players just level up on such a consistent basis. As for dominance, I probably will have to. I'm going to agree with Fly. I'm going to go with the break. You have KDZ, you have Arma, and when you watch the break and you just listen to Arma Indecisive, commentate, it shows they're really knowledgeable of the game and how much they're into it and how much they try their best to keep their local alive because they care for the game, and that's what it is in the end. Making sure that the locals alive so they can still stream for people that actually want to watch the game. And they try really hard, despite their low numbers. They still have a stream every week, unless Street Fighter players take over it.
And Atlanta Combat has taken the way of Houston Combat and died a horrible death.
Well, Atlanta Combat has defended their title from outsiders. Theo 1 GGA, hold that, Jack.
Oh, burn.
I mean, I'll hold it. Theo's a pretty damn good player. I don't really have anything that I can say about it. I did lose to him twice that weekend. I lost to him at that, and I also lost to him at UFGT. So I'm holding all sorts of things. But I mean, I know this isn't a part of the question, but I would be a dick if I didn't say thank you to everyone for saying the nice things about GGA. And I hope that people listening I hope that you guys kind of look at this. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. What we're trying to do, obviously, on an internal level, is we're trying to level up to help all the players out, not just Team GGA, all the affiliates and everything too. But it's really important to us that you guys all enjoy what we're doing and want to tune in, because we also think that it's really healthy for Injustice as a whole to have these locals go. Despite what people think, GGA doesn't actually, we didn't cheer for Wednesday Night Fights to have its issues or cheer for the break to have low numbers or things like that. We think it's awesome that there was all this different stuff. And actually, when we put Ghost Battle Series in, we specifically picked a day that no one else was on because we thought we didn't want to start stepping on anyone's toes and stuff like that. We thought everyone having scenes was great and all this stuff was awesome. So I hope that this carries over into MKX, and I know that was part of your question, Fly. I think it's going to. I know I'm out of time, so I'll wrap it up, but I think it's going to. I think everyone, from what you read on 2IM, it seems that people like the locals in general, not just any specific one. People just like watching the gameplay. So, yeah, I'd like to think it's going to keep rolling, and I think it's really healthy for the scene overall.
I want to know what the community thinks, too. I mean, these are our thoughts, but I want to know what the rest of the community thinks as far as their favorite scene, their favorite players from each scene, and who they want to see play more. Because I know personally, the Atlanta scene's kind of died, and it's been a bummer because
we'll be back for MKX, you know it.
I mean, I know it, but my schedule just doesn't permit me to do as much, and that's not going to change for MKX, but that doesn't stop the rest of you guys. I don't know. I hate to see it, but I want to see guys like Harold just dominate in MKX. I want to see Pig dominate in MKX. I want to see the Atlanta guys come back, but we need a platform to be able to do that, and at least until whatever Reno's planning on doing with Yomi happens. Until that happens, I don't know that we'll really have that platform. So I don't know. I mean, this is the next question, and I guess I'll leave this as an open forum and not go person by person, but will Injustice regain any of its momentum that it had earlier on in its life before MKX is released, or possibly after? What do you guys think on that?
Honestly, sad it may be, probably not, to be honest. Injustice will probably slowly die out after MKX's.
So you're saying my money match with Merc at KIT is not going to matter?
Yeah, no one's going to give a fuck about it.
Oh.
And
That's before KX,
that's
though.
a real rap.
Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, no. Like, I feel like Injustice, like, after MKX comes out, you're gonna have like the side tourneys, but like at most probably top 3 will get streamed. Like local, so it'll be like MK9. It'll like later down the road, people play Injustice for the nostalgia if they really want to, and you're gonna have like the 10% of the community that's actually going to stay devoted to the game after release, that will like actually be on a stream and play. I'm not talking about the people that just sit on the forums and talk about how much they love Injustice. Like players like Indecisive and Arma, that care about the game, like Zeno from Atlanta, he's still be playing the game. Like those players, they're going to try their best to keep Injustice alive, but with that small amount of numbers, I don't see it being possible.
That's a massive blow up, and it's completely true, and it frustrates me to no end. Not because I'm not getting on the argument of, why can't we as a scene? Why can't we play 2 games? Other games can do it. And not that. That's not where I'm going with this. But this game, Injustice, was doomed as soon as everybody turned against it. Now, if you don't like the game and you want to turn against it, you want to talk shit about it, that's fine. Everyone's allowed to have their opinions. Problem is, a lot of those people are still around. They're still on TYM. They're still posting. They've been posting for a year. Some of them have podcasts. Some of them are on streams. So you have all these people just constantly shitting on the game. And that is truly disappointing for the people that do like Injustice. Injustice never stood a chance because of that. If you don't like the game, that's fine. But when you stay around and
bash it after a year later,
you're not. The game was doomed, and you know what? Maybe that was their goal. Maybe they wanted the game to die. Maybe that's all they cared about. But
like, it's really fucked up because there's people that truly care about the game and they wanted to keep it alive, and you got the people that's like coming a year later still bashing the game. You're killing their enjoyment. Like, really? Video games, everyone keeps saying video games is about, it's about fun. Don't take the trash talk out of the game. But then you got those people, constantly bashing the game, ruining the enjoyment for the people that actually want to keep it alive.
I mean,
The
it's
same people
typical.
who actually asked for positivity, mind you, are the same people who came up with the epic pun "in just ass," haha. I mean, you're allowed to not like the game. You're allowed to have issues with it. I think. I don't mind that CD Jr., one of the most successful Mortal Kombat players, didn't like Injustice. I mean, his issues with it are his own. I mean, I'm sure he didn't not like it because it's not MK9. He just didn't like it, and that's fine. But spreading the same, I'm just using him as the most prominent example, by the way. I mean, he toned it down a lot, and it's not like he's on TYM that often, so this is not like a CD Jr. blow up. But when you keep trashing the game, despite the fact that nobody's forcing you to play it, nobody's shoving it down your throat. If anything, I think Injustice probably does not get as much talk as it probably deserves. And he just keeps spreading the same thing over and over and over, and a lot of which are, by now, highly outdated opinions. And not just that, but actually go back and forth with people who still play the game, who understand it better than you. And with such negativity, that's a different issue. Hey, if your issue is like balance or whatever, that's fine. We can debate that. But the no footsies, the no anti-air, all.
It
If
is
that's your
typical.
opinion, that's fine. But
Dude, it is typical. If I'm not having fun, no one is having fun. Schoolyard, immature bullshit. Oh, I can't have fun. I'm gonna break your toy. Like, it's childish, and that's what it is. You don't like the game,
Pretty
and that's
much.
fine. Get out of here and go play your own game. We won't bother you. You don't bother us. Everything's fine. But that's not what you get, and that's the problem.
I mean, there's
written
also.
before.
Oh,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I've
No,
written
go ahead.
before, and the issue is that, like, in MK, we had the same, like, slow down, the same kind of, emo-ness about the game and whatnot, but now the game, quote-unquote, sucks. So now it's okay to let the game die because it, quote unquote suck. I mean, we had a not a top player, but one of the head moderators of Test Your Mind on Facebook saying, "LOL, the only reason we're not the best is because the game sucks." Like, this is the mentality that we have. And with that mentality, which is so brutally toxic, there's absolutely no chance for the game to either regain even a little bit. I mean, we even have sad little things like, I don't know if you guys have heard, Level Up and Super Arcade have parted ways. They're no longer going to be working together. And we don't even know how Wednesday Night Fights is going to work anymore, let alone come back. So, I mean, there's a lot of things up in the air, but I think ultimately if we can not have that attitude with MKX, because it could still happen. Like, even though it's MK, it could still happen. People are that petty. It could happen. I'd like to look at the positive stance and think things will change for the better. But as far as Injustice, I think it was doomed a long time ago. NEC should have been the MLG Anaheim of Injustice, and it unfortunately was not.
I mean, I think there's a very good reason why MK has that. I don't know. It feels different to me. Like, if you got babied in MK, you had a reason to get blown up, and you couldn't say shit about it, right? Like, if you got babied in tournament, what could you say other than I got blown up? Injustice, I feel like there's a lot of excuses. Either it's interactables, or it's the dashes are too long. It's lack of footsies, and I think
50-50s, dude. 50-50s.
50-50s.
That's de facto excuse.
I feel like Injustice is so different of a game from MK that people are using that as an excuse, and it's killing the competitive nature of it. MK was MK. It was, I don't know, it had more defined rules, where Injustice is taking those rules and just shitting all over them. I don't know.
You know what's the problem? First impressions matter a lot, and sometimes they're really hard to shake off. So Injustice, yeah, the vanilla Injustice, balance-wise, was fucked up. It was absolutely messed up. Even gameplay mechanics, something like, it only costs you 1 bar meter to actually, get armor on an interactable. A lot of, bullshit interactables like, the rooftop at Metropolis, all that stuff. Superman combos, Superman forward 2-3, or, superior spacing and skill gap, no matter how, depends on your perspective. But yeah, there was a lot wrong with it, but the problem is people didn't give it the benefit of the doubt, didn't give it the patience. By the time the patch hit, the October patch, which was awesome, and then, Hippo alluded to NEC and how great that was. It's true that NEC revitalized the game, but I think a lot of the damage had already occurred, and people were just way too negative. Some of it was warranted, don't get me wrong. Anti-airs at first, for most characters, yeah, they were kind of, I don't want to say non-existent, but the jumping was way too strong. It doesn't help that we didn't know how to play the game. So people did not have the patience to actually wait till, hey, let's see if I can figure this game out, if I can understand how it works first. We know how NRS work. We know there are going to be patches. But people are like, oh, LOL, MK9 all over again in terms of balance. And, the lack of footsies, the interactables, they just didn't give it the patience, which is why even after the October patch, even after the game developed and evolved, you still hear the same arguments you heard in, say, June of 2013. So I think it was doomed from the get-go.
Well, I mean, I think Injustice is a good game, and I think it needs a little bit more tweaking, and I'm hoping that whenever Injustice 2, whatever that looks like, and whenever it comes out, takes into consideration some of these nuances that need to change. And if they do it well, I think you'll have a much better game. But I also want them to lighten up a little bit. I feel like what makes MK so much fun is that lighthearted, I'm beating you to a bloody pulp, but it's fun, it's different, I can baby you, I can pull out your spine, and it's humorous but also serious. Injustice is almost too serious for me. It's almost too serious of a game. I don't know. For my taste. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's personal opinion. I think obviously MK9 benefited too from the nostalgia factor. So even if at first there was a lot of issues with the game too. I mean, the game was broken at first, just flat out broken, and many trashed it. For the most part, a lot of us were just happy it's MK, and MK is back, and especially compared to a lot of the 3D MK games that were released prior. So a lot of people were more willing to give it the benefit of that. And yeah, you're right. I don't know about the serious tone of the game or not, but MK had an established tone, whatever it is. It's, we kind of, MK is MK. Injustice, we were kind of discovering it, not just as gameplay mechanics wise, but just, a lot of people on TYM just are not familiar with the DC universe, for example. So getting a main, as far as, the character you like, was not as easy a process for most compared to MK9, where, we all played UMK3. So we kind of knew who our favorite characters are. So that I think that also plays a factor. These little things, you add them all together and you get the result that we ended up with.
All right. Well, Hippo got 0 points that round because he took a massive shit in the middle of it.
All right, we're getting a little too meta here. I think this is a little.
Oh, so wait, when the shoe's on the other foot, you don't necessarily enjoy that, huh, big guy? Okay.
First of all, I don't have a foot; I have hooves. I'm a hippo. Secondly, there is no shoe that would fit my size foot. So thank you. And for that terrible metaphor. -points.
And you know what? You don't have that power today, sir.
Yeah, sorry. That's not on you today, Hippo. That's on me.
Guys, I'm getting bodied in Hearthstone right now. It's embarrassing. I'm getting massacred.
I thought you said it was so easy to learn.
It is easy to learn, but since I've been on this call, I've been getting bodied. It's not good.
Is it like Flo and Batgirl?
What's up?
Is it like Flo and Batgirl?
Yeah, pretty much.
Get bodied. Yeah.
Pretty much. Or Flo.
So the next topic I have on my list has to do with something that some of you may not understand. I'm hoping that it hits most of you, but it's called the grammar police. And I have my own personal thoughts on this, but I'm going to open it to the panelists, and I'm going to start with HomeLee. And I want to hear your thoughts, and I want you to explain and give some backstory on the grammar police for me.
Okay, I'm a pretty hefty grammar Nazi because I feel like me personally, it gets under people's nerves when someone corrects them on like one little thing. They're just like, "Fuck you," But as for grammar police on TYM, I'm actually not a part of that group, Mike. I just correct you because I like trolling you.
Oh, I know. But who are the grammar police? What do they do, and why do they do it?
So you have like Eldrikin and I believe Euphemism. I'm not sure who else is part of the group, but they just go on TYM and someone misuses your, and then they'll just go in there and correct them, and that's pretty much just what they do. I mean, I'm pretty sure it probably stemmed from Facebook because I want to say that's where all grammar Nazis come from. You do that on Facebook, you get a bunch of likes. It's the same thing with TYM. You do that to someone, you get a bunch of likes. It's just like phishing.
Is it just like phishing, though? I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I don't know why the people you mentioned, Eldrikin or Euphemism or anyone does it, but I'm sorry. When you misuse it drives me up a goddamn wall. Now, I don't post on TYM about it. I don't go in and correct people, but it absolutely drives me crazy. And here's why. I feel like people, when they are just machine gunning through a post or something, I feel like they're not actually thinking. I feel like it's just slipshod, and we're just gonna type, and let me just shit this idea out as fast as humanly possible. I don't want to think about it, much like matchup numbers and stuff like that. Let's not actually think about it. Let's just fire out what we can be, so we can be the first person to say it. So if you're just shitting something out and you didn't take the time to properly respect the language that we are speaking, It infuriates me. I hate the misspellings of your, and I get especially angry when people use UR instead of YOUR or YOU apostrophe RE when they
use that.
Yeah, how much time in
I use that.
How much fucking time? What did you do with the fucking extra 4 hours that you saved by not typing those 2 letters? Oh, that's right. It's actually only a quarter of a second. You're lazy. You're lazy.
I'm on my phone. I'm trying to type fast. I don't care.
Your phone typing platforms will actually end words for you. If you had you been typing it the entire time, when you get type YO, I'm sure all the options for your come up and you can just click one. It is lazy, man. I hate it.
I actually
Have
take
a
that
grammar
off my
Nazi
phone,
here.
though.
Yeah,
I
I
take that off my phone though because
I'm offended by grammar Nazi.
Really?
What?
I don't know. I feel like also some people just use grammar Naziing people just because they don't really know how to contribute to the conversation. I guess they just want to blow that person up. It's just like, oh, this is my chance to blow this person up.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's a good point. And also, if they're
3 points for HomeLee on that. Perfect.
Yeah, they can't be grammar Nazis. That's the problem. Like, they are spelling Nazis. For grammar Nazi,
there we go.
As someone who's in the process of becoming an English teacher, I have to say, people who use the term grammar Nazi, start correcting their grammar. They got ideas in their sentences that are not collaborating. They are not using, sentences correctly. They're not using commas in the right places. They are not using participial phrases to help bring ideas together in their sentences. A lot of people have terrible grammar. But ultimately, it's a website, and it doesn't matter.
Did you just say marsupial?
No, I said participial. Yeah. That is a blow-up.
Oh, man.
That is a...
I was going to give you an extra point for using a big word, but now I'm thinking I'm taking it back.
Participial is a word.
Did you learn that in Damascus Fly?
Marsupial is a word.
Wow.
Yes, marsupial is a word.
Okay, Jack, define whatever it is.
Participle.
Participle. Jack, define participle. I bet you $100 you cannot.
No, you're right. I cannot, but I do know that it's a part of sentence structure.
Okay.
I know there's something called a past participle that's pretty important.
Define a marsupial.
Like a kangaroo.
Okay, see? My point, I win. I get points.
Well, I'm sorry that you don't know how to... I'm sorry that you don't know that to modify a noun phrase, you need a participle. Not on me.
I was trying to give you props, Hippo, for using big words, but I'm thinking of not doing that now.
I didn't even just use big words. I used big ideas.
Big ideas? You going into politics now? I got big ideas.
I'm attacking people's sentences in the concept of their mind, not even how they spell it. Come on, I got to get points for that.
I need to be high for this conversation. You've gone way too deep for me.
As a literature professional...
I'll bring it back down to a base level. Here's what I have to say.
Could you dumb it down for us?
Yeah, I'll dumb it down as shade.
I could have sworn the first time I heard you said marsupial, though. I'm just going to say it out loud.
Well, I could talk about marsupials all day, but what I'll say is, I think if you're grammar Naziing, just relax. Just take a step back.
I'll say that you guys it annoys me when the people post it, they correct you because that does normally mean that they don't actually have a legitimate thought. They just want to do a blow up. However, that does not change the fact that it's nails on a chalkboard. When I see that shit.
Well, Jack, to everyone's defense, that kind of just goes in like, oh, now's my chance to blow this person up by correcting his spelling mistake. To be fair, the people that, get corrected, their thoughts make no sense. So I guess they can't really contribute to the argument because of their shitty grammar.
Man, I can't tell you how many times I've been corrected on my grammar, and it pisses me off.
That's why I do it to you, Mike. I love it.
It's not even you most of the time, though.
Mike, all of these flavors, and you chose to be salty. That's why I do it to you.
All right, negative points for using that little, whatever that was, that little phrase.
Your problem is you're not using marsupial phrases correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
I just Googled marsupial, and it's 7 kilometers from Damascus.
Yes, that's right. Marsupials. The only thing that should come up in a Google search of marsupials should be the Wikipedia page and the old television show Marsupilami, which that's what I know about marsupials.
That's what we're going with right now, Marsupilami.
I just think
aren't marsupials mammals?
Yes.
I think of Rocco's Modern Life.
He was a marsupial.
That was a good show.
It's an amazing show.
Fucked up though.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah.
I guess we established it's not really grammar police. TYM has a bunch of spell checkers.
Yeah, spell checker.
Basically what it is.
I tend to agree with HomeLee where it's more of a, I have nothing to add to this thread that's on a matchup. All I want to do
Blow you up because
is-
you're.
I'm going to pick
You
one
mad?
thing out of this, post one thing that is, if we're going to talk about infractions, is completely useless. Just
Are we
to
going to
say
talk
that I
about
did.
infractions? Is that where we're going? Because I got some thoughts. I got some thoughts.
God.
You are allowed to continue
Cool
those
has an
thoughts.
essay of thoughts on that.
Infractions could be a dicey topic right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, what is the topic and how long is it going to take us? Because my timer is about to go off.
I mean, you can wait for your timer. I don't know if you know this, but I like to talk. So when you ask me how long it's going to be, a while. And I know Cool Whip is fired up too.
I've got 4 minutes left on this timer before we're moving on, so you guys dice it out.
Go Whip. I'll be nice.
Should I really do it? No, go first,
Go,
Jack.
go,
I'll give you,
go.
I'll give you the floor.
All right, I'm gonna do everything that I can to keep this concise. So hopefully under 30 minutes. I would actually, you know what? No, I can make this short. I would like to propose a new infraction. That's right. I'm actually voting for more infractions, and I would like everyone on TYM that posts bad gameplay information to be infracted. It's a competitive website where your client base should be people trying to improve to do better in tournament. So what's more damaging? Cool Whip posting about nothing, or someone just posting LOL, or someone just posting a GIF, which are currently being infracted for being useless or not having any information, or actual bad information. The posters that literally post things that are incorrect or just lie. I believe those posters should also be infracted, and I'm actually a little pissed off that they're not, because that's more cancerous to the website than someone just posting LOL or a bruh gif. That's nothing. I don't see why that's an infraction. But if it's gonna be, then you better start goddamn infracting the people who are flat out lying on the website. It's a disaster, and we need more infractions on TYM.
Okay.
The misinformation is everywhere.
How are you
Fine,
going
I'll
to
give you
enforce
more
this?
infractions. You want to know who else should get infracted? Not just those who post shitty gameplay discussion, but those who fucking defend them. Those are the ones that should be infracted even worse.
It's even worse. I agree.
I don't want Rahelios to get infracted. I really don't. The dude has his opinions. It's whatever. Do you guys know that Rahelios apparently has a spell check, and that's why he spells Catwoman with like a dash or something? Yeah, Rahelios has a spell check. How about that? But anyway,
Slayer, man.
I know. Hold on. I know this call is not about to blow up Rahelios for his spelling. I just heard you guys get mad about people doing that. You better let Rahelios spell however he wants, you hypocrites.
Not only
Apologize. You all need to apologize. All 4 of you. Go. Kiss my ass.
I don't know what I'm apologizing for, but sure, I'll apologize.
So
You're
wait
a
a
good
minute.
man. The other 3 are scumbags.
How do you plan to
I
enforce this new infraction system, Jack?
Me?
Ken?
I'll just throw it to the mob. They
Whip.
seem to like fracking so much, I think they'll just blindly accept it. Honestly. Like, no. Really, if you want to come off as objective and defend everybody and let everybody have their opinions or whatever, dude, at least try not to be so fucking obvious with your agenda. That's all I'm gonna say. When somebody flat out posts wrong gameplay information and we spent months and months actually explaining why this is wrong, don't tell me, oh, then educate him, don't blow him up. Get the fuck out of here. Listen, honestly, no, I don't want to turn this into a blow up just because I have the medium to do so. So I'm going to chill down. I'm going to piggyback to the infraction thing. Honestly, listen, the infraction system, whatever it is, we really need to ditch the post with no value thing. Listen, nobody cares that there was one random gift that has nothing to do with the topic. Nobody's going to be thrown off by that. Nobody cares. In fact, most people are going to like it. My post that's supposedly added no value got likes by moderators for some reason, yet I was infracted for it. Whatever.
Well, I think that comes down to some moderators having a sense of humor and some moderators taking things a little too seriously.
Listen, honestly, in defense of the moderator that actually infracted me, they were cool about it. That's not the point. They even kind of conceded that, hey, the rule is a bit dicey. I don't want to name names. Most moderators I've actually talked to about this, they were like, yeah, this rule's pretty dumb. So why the fuck is it there? Posts of no value. Most posts on TYM have zero value.
Or negative value, and that, my friends, is the problem.
God.
And to answer your question, Fly, the way that you regulate that is simple. If someone posts up bad information and someone else on the site, wow,
What a Freudian slip.
yeah, Freud. If someone else on TYM can put up proof that that is bad information, they are infracted. That's it. Easy money.
Random thought. Can we call when someone accidentally says something wrong about a matchup a Freudian slip?
Yes.
Oh,
We can do that.
love them.
That might be the best thing you've ever contributed to my life. Well played, sir.
I think so.
Well played. Freudian slips, all of them. I'm serious, though. Okay. All ranting aside, I think it's a problem that is rampant on 2IM right now. The MKX threads are a disaster. You have people spouting off matchup numbers and frame data and crap that A, they don't know, they're just flat out lying, and B, if they saw something or talked to someone somewhere, I have news for you. It's going to change. So you're all full of shit. But when it comes to Injustice itself, you have all these people who want to, regulate matchups and shit like that because that's the only way that they can feel good about themselves, and half the time, the information that they put in there is just flat out wrong, and that is a problem, man. This website is supposed to be for competitive players trying to get better, not for you to push your downplaying agenda. It's ridiculous, and it's literally cancerous. It's so bad.
And you know what else is the problem? Because of other agendas, I'm not talking about downplaying characters' agendas. I'm talking about downplaying players' agendas, and you know what I'm talking about. Because of that, people completely disregard anything that has to do with reason, anything that has to do with facts pertaining to the game, and we are supposed to accept hypotheticals. Like, oh, what if player A or B or whatever, with his ridiculous, unfounded statements and flat out wrong, oh, what if they're on to something? What if they know something that this other successful player doesn't? Well, you know what? In that case, whenever this player goes out and prove it, then we'll actually talk about it. But for now, we don't deal in what-ifs or hypotheticals. I don't care that somebody might have some super secret tech about the Catwoman Bane matchup if it's never been on display. They've had a rough time articulating it, presumably because of the difficult thought to text process, apparently, or whatever it is. We'll go with what we know for now.
But what if that Bane player backs out of an online set?
Well, then he's a fraud. I'm sorry, Max. I love you. No, but honestly, you know what? Max backing out, even though I wouldn't have myself. I honestly wouldn't have. I would have just played and went, fuck it. But Max backing out is actually really telling about the TYM culture. I'm not blowing up others for Max's decision. But keep in mind, Max was the one who asked to play Rahelios, by the way, because Rahelios beat Biohazard or something. So there was that. So it's not like he pussied out. Obviously, it's not like he was scared. But Max backing out, he flat out said it. He knew that the consequences of him potentially losing are going to be not just blow-ups of him as a player. I don't think that's what Max was worried about the most. A lot of people go on pick stream and lose. That's not the point. But it was going to have drastic consequences and drastic narratives on a matchup. Why? Because of a 1st to 10 online set. Now that, to me, Max did the rational thing for the greater good, even though I wouldn't have backed out myself. I'm also not trying to portray him as a martyr here, but this says a lot about the TYM culture and how everybody was viewing it. And everybody who says otherwise are full of shit, because I was on on stream. I don't remember what tournament was taking place that day, but I was on stream and people were talking, oh, Rahios is going to show that this matchup is not 7-3 or whatever. Like, dude, you're already saying that if he wins or makes it close or whatever, the matchup is not 7-3. So you're already putting all your eggs in that one set's basket. It makes no sense. It's a shitty culture that's really affecting. It's honestly, it's toxic. That's all I have to say.
And
I don't know why I'm rant mode this morning. I apologize.
That was good.
This morning, I mean, it's nighttime over here.
Yeah, well, sorry you guys are behind as always.
Oh,
Damn. Shots fired. Marsupials fired.
marsupials are not from Lebanon. It's blow up Jack, blow up Saucy Jack.
You mean koalas and kangaroos are not from Damascus? Are you sure about that, Fly?
I heard they were 30 kilometers away.
There you go.
So speaking of poisonous cultures and mentalities, I don't know how many people got a chance to hear this. I heard this and was disturbed. It was brought to my attention by Pig of the Hut, who it was shared with him from somebody else. But it's a player who I used to have a really high, thought of, and that's Acid Glow, who is a Killer Instinct player who, from watching his gameplay, he's talented. He's got skills. But there's a recent video he put out on his channel that, if you haven't had a chance to listen, I'd encourage giving it a listen and making
it's been brought down, Fly, just to be
We'll
sure.
link it. We'll link it in the thread.
I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to listen to it and make up their own opinion. But us, as on this podcast, have given it a listen. And basically, to summarize his talk, he talks about how part of the way he was supporting himself is through his YouTube channel. And the funds that he got from his YouTube channel were how he paid for everything. And the conclusion of his rant, and I'm trying to say this nicely without just blowing him up, but he was blaming the YouTube subscribers for not listening to enough of his videos or watching enough of his videos. And because of that, he had to give up his home, become homeless, and can't pay his bills. And was blowing up his followers on YouTube for not being able to afford his bills. Now,
it was Twitch as well, right?
It's more than one thing, and I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I would like to turn it over to you guys, and I'd like to hear what Cool Whip has to say about this. You start, buddy.
All right. I'll first say that the video has since been brought down by Acid Glow himself, so we can't actually link it.
Bummer.
I think cooler thoughts prevailed, which is a shame, because that video was something.
It makes for good talking points.
I'll start with the fact that on a very small level, I'm sympathetic to the guy just because he seems like, or at least he says he's depressed. He said he lost somebody, presumably a girlfriend, dumped him, and he has financial problems. Okay, I can't mock anybody for these things. These are problems. I don't wish that upon anybody. But if you're relying on your YouTube channel, strictly on your YouTube channel, to support you, and don't want to go and find a job, I'm not in a position to tell anybody what to do. If that's what you love in life, and that's how you aspire to make money out of, that's fine. But you have to accept the consequences, and you have to have the foresight to think that, hey, this might not work out, because at the end of the day, your YouTube channel posts random online sets of fighting games. And let's be honest, fighting game as a genre is a very niche genre. Not a lot of people... I mean, he was essentially... Because what he said is, a lot of my videos are not getting more than 5,000 views. Well, I'm sorry, your Noob Cybot versus Liu Kang MK9 matchup, in which you were doing Chris G 3-bar 35% combos in the corner, did not get more than 5,000 views. Because, I mean, first of all, you're not Justin Wong. You're not... I mean, he might be talented. That's not the point. But... It's
like a name in the community.
That's exactly what I mean. And you're posting videos of fighting games, which is cool. I mean, hey, we love fighting games, but you have to expect that. And if things don't work out, don't blame others. Don't blame people who don't click and watch your videos. First of all, you post literally, I checked his channel. I had no idea who this guy is before, by the way, but I checked his channel. He literally posts up to like 12 to 15 videos per day. Well, yeah, not everybody's going to watch that. I mean, most people aren't, in fact. So blaming your fans, quote unquote, and taking them to task for their lack of loyalty is bullshit. Listen, I do believe in loyalty. I'm loyal to my family, to my friends, but loyalty does not mean I have to watch something just because you're putting out content. That's not loyalty. I think this would mean that I have a sense of obligation towards you in order for you not to fall in financial turmoil. So I have to watch your videos out of sympathy. That's what you're asking me to do. And then taking them in the end on a suicide guilt trip. Like, listen, dude, honestly, I really hope the guy doesn't do anything stupid. But don't do that. If you want to do that, that's your own business. Don't take people on a guilt trip just because they didn't click on a video. I think that's way out of line.
One point for you.
Wow. Really?
That seems a little lackluster, but I was going to say, the problem with Acid Glow is, like, the entitlement here. Like, I can't hate people's hustle, and I never will, but ultimately he's entering a business that's super risky, technically has no real basis. Like, there's a whole South Park episode mocking this. All these guys, these YouTube guys are there, and they always say, theoretically, I'm a billionaire. Well, yeah, theoretically, you're a billionaire, but ultimately, you're a jackass. This guy, if he was a top-level player, if he contributed knowledge to the forums, and then spread his videos that way, he literally becomes a bot. He goes to forums, Acid Glow, hey guys, it's Acid Glow here, and goes and posts his videos, and just posts the videos. Like, it's just like new tech from Acid Glow, and then doesn't contribute. Like, the guy is basically a bot. He's a shill. And it's annoying, and nobody wants to watch it. I'm not surprised the guy's channel failed. It's just annoying to be spammed with so many videos of things that ultimately aren't really that impressive. Like, it's just little things. It's like that one guy, what's his name, True Talent or whatever he is.
Oh, God.
These guys
just should not be brought up on this.
I mean, they're all the same. These guys that just post videos, and they're just whatever, but they spam it.
Dude, I made True Talent shut down his stream one time. So I made him so salty.
Thank God. These guys are just, it's not their fault. They're just mediocre, but I don't care, man. I'm sorry that you're going through problems. Like Kulip said, I can't hate if a guy's really going through some tough personal issues, but you put all your chips in a business that stinks.
So
It's
take it like
very-
a man.
It's very,
I was just
you know, I'm going to go straight Simpsons on everybody here. I know Simpsons has been relevant for a decade, but whatever. But, I mean, it's very much when Ned Flanders opened the Leftorium and then it failed because the business was so, like, dude, that market, even for the big games, your Dotas, your Minecraft, stuff like that, making an income, yeah, it's super risky on YouTube. So when not only are you in a field that is risky in general, but you've decided to pick fighting games as the niche in that field that you're going with, I feel bad for the guy that it didn't work out for him. But I don't know how you can reasonably expect that that's going to go well. And here's the thing. This is actually going to be a huge confession on this podcast because I haven't even talked to a lot of people about this, but because of what Acid Glow is going through, a lot of people have been harassing me thinking that something's up. I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way so now everyone will know, and you'll understand why. I'm saying this in a second. I actually got laid off from work 2 weeks ago. My job got outsourced. I was with the company for 7 years. A stable 9-to-5 office job that I'd been there for 7 years, and they're now outsourcing. And I left the company. I went home. I started applying for jobs. I think that's what a rational human being would do. And what disturbs me about this Acid Glow video is that he was in a really tough, independent business, and it failed, and his response was to try and literally drag everybody down with him and, like, slam them with guilt. Like, that would be like after I got laid off, I then wrote a letter to all my coworkers and, like, you bitches didn't do enough to save my job. Like, you know, it's not like he didn't just blow up on his boss. You know what I mean? Like, he literally took all of these people and blew them up. And what's really ridiculous about it is, if you have any chance of getting this back up and running again, those people that you just blew up are going to be the core basis for you getting this business back on its feet again. And you've just alienated all of them. So I get it, man. Like I said, I am going through some pretty tough shit right now myself, and I understand that your initial reaction might not be the best for social consumption, but you've got to make better, mature decisions than that. That was... You know what that video was? Honestly, that was a temper tantrum. That was, I'm not getting my way, I'm going ape shit, and I'm dragging you all down with me. And I don't know how old Acid Glow is. Me and him aren't boys or anything. I've never even spoken to him. But, I mean, you throw that video out, I can't respect that. That is, it's bad behavior, and that's not something that I don't know. I just thought it was terrible.
So, to someone who's new, I mean, literally, I made a few videos back during MK, but I don't really know much about monetization of YouTube videos. What does it take, view-wise, to actually make a living?
A lot, honestly.
What's the number? The dollar ratio? Anybody know?
I remember my friend actually told me because he actually knew about it, but even if you had like 1 million views, you're still not making a lot. I'm talking like you better be hitting like 50 mil, 20 mil. Like
yeah, it's not easy. There's a guy. I'm not gonna put his business out with a name, but there is a guy in the NRS community that makes videos that I know has a pretty big following, over 10,000 subscribers. A lot of his videos have hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, his checks that he gets are like a couple hundred a month. Like,
wow.
It's like.
So it's fractions on a dollar. It's fractions.
Yeah,
it's very small. So it's.
And then you also have to get partnered by YouTube too to actually make the real money. Like you could even potentially if you get like 5 to 10 million views, if you're not partnered up with YouTube, they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, it's tough, man, and I can't blow him up for wanting to do that because I mean you see it all the time in people. I'm not happy at my job. I'm going to do what I want to do. And a lot of times, I guess a lot's not right. The business failure rate's high, but sometimes it's successful. I can never fault someone for doing what they want to do with their life. And it seemed like that's what he wanted to do. But, I mean, when you are in a risky business and it fails, I don't know, man. I think it's disgusting that you would then throw that blame out.
I mean, the thing that I see, and I see this through a couple different TYM members and fighting game community members, is that there is a mentality of fighting games take precedence.
A successful business
sometimes, and it is hard. Like it is to do what Pig has done, and he's actually had some really good success, and he's a very good friend of mine. To do what he's done in Mortal Kombat and Injustice is hard, and it takes a lot of time. To do what 16-Bit has done in both those games is hard. CD Jr., Perfect Legend, to do what they do is hard, and they are the best at what they do. They're not me. I'm a mediocre, middle-of-the-line player. They are the best of the best, and they don't make money off YouTube, as far as I know. If they do, it's not much and compared to what they make winning. And what they make winning isn't much compared to what they make in their other jobs. Because I think 9 out of 10 of them have other jobs, right?
I'd hope so.
I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense. And to anybody who's listening out there who's planning on making your YouTube your lifeblood and your savings, think again. And hopefully this hits home.
There's a great quote from The Social Network when the two twins who created Facebook go to the president of Harvard and attempt to spill their grievances. He says, You young people are obsessed with creating jobs instead of finding jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good and bad thing. But I think here it's sort of a bad thing because ultimately this is a hobby that we all love to play, right? Like
Yes.
this is fun.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to turn into a business, and you are literally sucking the fun out of everything. Please stop. Please stop.
Speaking of which, how should we monetize
yes.
this stream?
Oh, I mean, I already got hats. I got shirts. I got badges. I'm selling them from my own website. King Hippo.
Yeah,
Don't
seriously.
worry, Fly. I click play on our video at least 50 times a day, so we're getting a lot of
Oh,
views. Don't worry.
The
about it.
revenue.
Related to views, I was actually happy that 650 people watched. It turns out 50 of them were you.
The revenue streams need to start coming in, boys, or else I'm going to pack it up, and I'm going to blame all you listeners. We should probably get a donate button up, and I'm actually thinking we should be paid hourly. I feel like we're doing some good work here.
Yep.
Jack, you'd have higher chance making money by trying to revive KTP.
Damn.
But for real, though, I guess it's my turn to blow up Acid Glow, and I'm going to be pretty brutal because no fucks are ever given by me. I sure think he is a dumbass. I don't give a fuck if you have any personal issues or whatever, but when you throw all your – unless if you're Maximilian or fucking PewDiePie, you're not making jack shit from anything. Like, let's be serious here. Even if you claim that you're making your, daily expenses being paid off by these streams, you should at one point realize I can't – for the next 20 years, can I do this? Can I do this with a family? Is this money going to be able to sustain me being able to cover for potentially children in my life, Like, there's a specific player I know. I don't want to, say any names, but I actually tried talking to him one time out of the game, be like, what is your aspirations in life? Like, what are your goals outside of the game? And he stripped just kept bringing up the game. I'm just like, no, you're not going to make a living off this. And he straight up told me, why would I want to ditch this if this is slowly becoming a very successful business soon on in the future? And I was just like, Jesus Christ.
It's not, actually.
Yeah, like, in all seriousness, like, what was it? I understand, it's always good to chase your dreams. If you want to be a big YouTube streamer or whatever, it's always good to chase your dreams and do what you want to do. But when you grow older, you got to realize dreams change. You got to grow up and face reality. You need to find something that can help sustain you, a significant other, and if you decide to have children in your life, find something that can sustain them too, to make sure they get to where they can be like, if you're happy where you're at in life, you want to make sure that you can support them to get them to that point in their life as well.
Man, I love how deep we're getting. This is so.
Yeah.
This is. I love
Like,
it.
that's why, like, I heard that and I just got angry. I was just like, this dude's straight up a dumbass, and like, why, like, oh yeah, and in the middle of his video, he was saying that he was listening to his viewers, like, taking up the request, like, maybe you should stream other games and get more viewers back. This guy went out to go buy more games to stream, and his streams failed. It's just like, what are you doing?
So he went out and spent more money when he didn't have enough money. And
Exactly.
He
Like,
spent. If he spent $60 on one game, how many views would that take to equal that one game?
Not much at all. Like, let's be serious here. Like, I'm pretty sure he probably saw Max's channel on, like, Max's birthday. And everyone knows who Maximilian is, right? I just wanted to confirm with that, right?
Yeah.
On his birthday, some dude donated, like, $1.5 to him. Like, that's like a 1 in a fucking 500 million chance of that ever happening, Honestly, you would have a higher chance of getting struck by lightning.
Well, on that note, I figured we'd lighten it up a little bit. We're about out of time on that one. I want to talk about MKX and the stream that NRS had last week. That was awesome. There was a lot of good thoughts and takeaways from that, and I want to talk about them in depth. I want to go ahead and start with, since HomeLee just went on his rant, we're going to start with Jack. Ken, what do you think?
I am actually going to defer and talk later if you're cool with that, but I need a little more Hippo in my life.
Fair enough.
Okay, Hippo.
Well, first of all, it's a great thing. I think we take for granted how much these companies that are run by corporations probably could give two craps about us as a community. So to throw a bone like this to us is great. So I think the stream was very successful in that. And while it didn't show maybe not necessarily new information, it was clarification on things that maybe we could see. And we could see it played in person and see kind of how all of those things affect the game. So I think that was really good. I think any negativity, like Tyler Lansdowne and I think it was Derek Kurtzik, right, who were playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys.
Wait. I thought that was Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Anyways.
It was actually acid blow.
It was acid flow. Acid flow here. But no, they were playing, and obviously they're not, high level players. They are people who work on the game. They work on the game, which is fine. But I mean, when guys like Pekka Power are in there being like, I'm really worried about MKX if these are the guys playing it. Shut up, man. No one. The reality is that most of the guys that work on the game do not they play it, but they are working on the game. You can't get much better than that. Capcom caters to high-level communities, and look how much people like Ultra Street Fighter 4. Exactly. Let these guys have their fun, make these crazy concepts, and you know what? If they can't play it that well, who cares? They are great at what they do, which is designing a fun game. Mm-hmm. And you guys play it at a high level anyway, so shut up, man. You get to see it, and you will never get this from any other fighting game maker, I guarantee you. So please, enough with the, well, you know what, they're just not playing at a high enough level. I can't see them making a good game. Ugh!
Are you saying they should backdash out of pressure more frequently?
I'm saying they should mash more.
I'm going to immediately renege on what I said. I'm not going last because you made a bunch of points that led me right where I wanted to go, so Cool Whip and HomeLee can hold that shit. One, it's sad because we're not going to, at least you and me won't get to argue because I'm super on board with everything that you just said. I just kind of wanted to expand with my own thoughts on it. One, it's great that this company is showing us all this stuff. They literally went out of their way to put something together, and I don't know, I appreciate that. The other games that I'm interested in outside of fighting games, half of them don't even put up streams like this, and the ones that do, they're garbage.
Like
so
Hearthstone?
I'm bad at that game. That game is super difficult. Anyways, and you don't even, a lot of times you don't get to see anything, and they're kind of inundating us with information, which is great. So props to NRS. And as for the point that you just made about people blowing them up for the level of play, I'm trying to agree with you more, and I don't know if it's possible. I agree with you so goddamn much. It's obnoxious. At any workplace, people have specializations. There's things that you do. You have departments, and there's some shit that people are good at, and there's some that you're not good at. And that's why they hire people to do the testing and the balancing and the gameplay stuff, and that's not what those guys' job is. So yeah, they play the game and they see it, but that's not what they're there to do, and it's embarrassing for us as a community that we say things like that. That stuff gets seen, man. TYM isn't this secret. People see what's being said, and people know who's an idiot and who's not. It's really, I don't know. It's embarrassing. They do. The all-seeing eye.
Do they know who's an idiot?
The Skype Illuminati. The Skype Illuminati. That stuff drives me up a goddamn wall. The stream wasn't put out with a headline that said, watch EVO level championship play. That wasn't the point. It's absolutely irritating. And what it leads to, quite frankly, and I'm sorry for the people that are listening that are going to be super hurt by this, but all the people that blow them up for stuff like that, it really just comes down to you're an inexperienced consumer and you're an inexperienced fighting game player, and you don't know dick about fighting games, dick about business, or dick about life. I'm sorry. If these are your...
I like that.
If your ideas that you put out to us here are the way that you view the world, grow up, man. You've got some growing up to do because you're not understanding just how business works. It's embarrassing. All right, I'm done. Sorry, but Hippo led me very nicely. So I was like, you know what? Screw HomeLee and Cool if you guys can hold it.
Well, I'm going to take it into a lighter tone. And I thought the stream was phenomenal. I would rather take the stream than watching fucking HD potato camera phone videos of players that don't know how to block. Any day. Like, I thought they were pretty decent in the game, honestly. I was like, that Scorpion, as soon as Scorpion started going off, I was like, wow, I'm maining him. That's it. I like Ninjutsu Scorpion. That's what sold me. It's the fact that they were there playing, enjoying the game, and at the same time giving us information. It's great. Like Jack and Hippo said, like, I don't see, Capcom, like doing this shit for us, like doing streams of like, Street Fighter or stuff like that. They're just showing us like pictures of what could happen, and then they'll give us a repeat character.
Well, what Capcom will do though is when they do decide to release gameplay, they'll have 2 top level players who have been testing the game demonstrate.
True.
Will
But,
they though? They never do that.
So
Hold on. And also, I've got a real big ego check for everyone. I don't know if you know this, but us competitive players make up like 0.00001%
of their
of
revenue.
who's buying the game. You know why we get
Exactly.
this game? Because of the dude that wants to know if Reptile's going to be green. Because of the dude that wants to know is Chrome going to be in the game. Because of the dude that wants to know is Ferritor going to yell really loud when he grabs you. Those are the motherfuckers that are giving them the money. They're not...
Those are the
I'm
people
telling
who
you.
create chromostasis.
They shouldn't
Guys.
care.
I'm
NRS
telling you,
should
Goro is
care.
going to be broke until the first patch. He is DLC. He's got to be marketed off to the consumers that he is fucking OP. And once people start racking up pre-order bonuses and they start making sales on that, they reach their goal, they're just going to nerf the shit out of him. Goro will probably most likely be broke until the first patch.
So you're saying right now...
People need an incentive to go pre-order. They'll be like, oh, it's just a character. But then they show up a gameplay video. Man, he looks really OP. And you know what? That gameplay trailer that they reveal Goro might actually reflect of what's going to be in the game just because he's pre-order.
So when can I expect your thread saying that Goro 7-3's Ferritor and your Ferritor players are going to need an alt for Goro?
I'm not going to make a matchup thread. Pekka Power thinks I'm unintelligent,
I mean-
even though he thinks the stream was supposed to represent like the whole game and stuff.
Isn't it fun though to look at what we have currently and like make predictions? Like if I had to choose right now, I would say that Kano looks like he's the best character out of who we've seen.
I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to go with actually
I'm going to kill you.
Why?
Quan Chi actually looks pretty fucking good.
Based on what?
it's used to speculate. Exactly. I'm with Jack
Neither of
here.
you
Because I think he looks cool.
Okay,
No.
saying he looks cool, but telling me that he looks like the best. Neither of you two even know how the game works.
No.
Get out of
Are
here.
You're
you
right.
saying that you have the insight you do, and 16-bit does talk to you, so you do know? Is that
No,
what you're confirming,
don't.
Jax?
That's why I'm not saying it. However, just because you made that joke, I'm going to get 4 PMs, and I'm going to get blown up.
Wow.
Security.
Yes.
HomeLee, why you gotta go there and mess with people?
I'm just saying, I will kill
No.
both of you.
Okay.
You don't even know how the game works.
Hear me out. Isn't it fun to speculate? I know, and I'm gonna preface this with I know it's all gonna
Saucy
change.
Jack, you know what? Fuck
Well,
you. Kodo Khan can get 30%
actually-
off 3 hits. He's going to be broke.
Okay,
Hold
let
that.
me jump in. I think Fly and HomeLee aren't wrong that it's fun to speculate. I think where it goes too far is where
When
you
people
have
start saying like
Doombox is literally spamming threads with frame data. Frame data.
Wait. Well, to be fair, Doombox actually has played the game though.
Did he?
Doesn't matter. It's gonna
Yeah.
change. The frame
I
rate
haven't
is gonna
played-
change.
I haven't-
Okay.
Did Doombox play the game?
He actually had. We have a Bane Council PM. By the way, Doombox, as your request, shout outs to my Bane Council. I love you guys. But yeah, Doombox
Negative
actually
points.
travels
Oh
a
my
lot.
god. You want to
And
lose?
Hold that. Anyways, Doombox actually travels to cons. He actually has played the game, so maybe he's
For
just
how
giving people
long?
data that's in the game right now. I mean,
Is
if he's
Is
saying
he?
if he's saying it's going to be concrete, then I'll be like, Doombox, you got to chill. But I haven't personally seen it.
Have you read any of his threads? He's talking like he's some sort of authority. He talks like he works at goddamn NRS.
I need to go back and read those since I have not seen those. He seems pretty logical in our PM, but I haven't seen him in the thread.
I mean, the reality is some of the things he said are just like factually inaccurate. That to
Gotcha.
me is when it becomes a problem. That's when, to me, that's when speculation goes too far. Is when you're actually spreading bad information. As opposed to
Finalized.
just spreading
mean-
information.
Finalized.
He should be infracted. I'm just saying.
Quan Chi's zoning
Finalized.
looks kind of weak. His skulls look very negative. I'm just gonna say that.
Hippo, if you continue to try and incite the Jewish thunder, oh man.
I didn't say that.
That was me. That was Fly.
You know what? I actually meant Fly, but I'm so mad right now that I took it out on Hippo, and I don't know why. That was
Fly and a hippo are very different.
that was a
Negative
misspeak
voice.
on my part. That was a
No.
Jameson-fueled misspeak. I meant Fly. I
Okay,
apologize, Hippo.
so I did like this in the stream. They were talking about how his rings for Quan Chi give him different traits for his specials. So the one that gives him a hit of armor while he's zoning, that's bullshit.
Can you imagine the corner with him?
Can we talk about how that's bullshit right now and how he might be OP and better than Kano?
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
how the game works, so I can't.
Yeah, I also cannot speak about it because I also.
Yeah, I'm also not a dumbass.
Come on, guys. It's just for fun. You guys suck. Minus points for all of you.
I don't know
Hey,
how the game
We're,
works. I
we're
can't.
not sitting here saying this is finalized. Okay, we're just making some stuff up, I guess.
Okay.
And we can, and you know what? You two, since you're both from the greater Atlanta area, can go speculate together all you want. Just leave me
You
the.
see the problem in that? You just said we're just
Actually-
kind of making stuff up. Yeah,
Pretty much.
stuff up.
Pretty much. You know what, Jack? I'm gonna make a personal feud with you. Just speculating stuff. If
All right.
you try to leave, I'm gonna make another one and send you.
Can
one
I
again.
chime in?
Yes, Cool Up. I want to hear from you, please.
All right.
Please help me regulate these two Atlanta assholes.
No,
Oh,
listen.
Jack.
To an extent, I get where Fly is coming from, and by this I mean I'm trying to be polite and before I blow him up. No, honestly,
You're
no,
trying
I
to save
do
your
get what
points.
No, that's fine. I mean, it was bullshit last week. It's not going to be any worse. So anyway, no.
Damn, shots fired. Hippo, you gonna take that?
I
He
am
has to.
silently brooding.
Are you giving Skype a stern look?
I am giving stern looks. I'm giving shifty glances.
Ooh, damn.
You know,
Well, regardless of my alter ego being pissed at me, I will say that I get where Fly is coming from for real in terms of speculation, but I would try to narrow it down to, oh, this looks cool. This looks like it might have some nifty setups, and stop right there. For example, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Quan Chi is going to have a ton of cool stuff with his portals or something, or that bat that he summons up, which looks absolutely awesome. So that sort of stuff is fine. I think in many ways that's why they actually bothered to show us this stream. But I would never take it further. In fact, I laughed when they made that thread before the stream to take questions and how detailed some of the questions are. Somebody put up an essay. I don't remember who it was, but it literally had like 25 questions. No exaggeration. Like, and all of which were like in-depth gameplay. They're not going to answer that. They probably don't even know. I'm not even joking. And then we watch the stream and we get a thread like, meter burn throws, 50-50s everywhere? And everybody freaks the fuck out. Like,
I
chill
actually-
down.
I saw that thread and I didn't want to go in because I knew I was going to get retinal AIDS.
I promise I didn't click on the thread. I didn't. I mean, I actually did. I just like I skimmed through the replies on that. So I was like, no, that's it. This is way too much.
I still
for me.
haven't clicked on that thread. I haven't even
Don't.
done it.
No, don't. First of all, we don't know how much advantage the throws give you. We don't know what normals every character are. We don't even know if every character has like a low and overhead launcher. We don't know anything. So what's the point? And plus, even speculating about that now, like, dude, we know how much patching goes into NRS gaming for the first few months anyway. And listen, we're all excited. I get that. But I'm excited to know which character is going to be next. You know, what each variation does in general. I'm also excited to know how the game works, but I can only find that out when I get the game. I can't find that out sooner. I understand. Listen, I understand why we speculate, for real. But no, you can't watch it. You no matter how fucking good you are, you can't possibly watch this and understand how the game works. I'm sorry. Like, these guys theorizing text and visualizing them, like, dude, come on. Seriously?
You gotta admit, though, my theory about Goro being broke it makes a lot of sense, though.
Are you old enough for me to punch and not go to jail for punching a juvenile?
Saucy Jack, I got a BBA in Business Administration. Hold that.
All right, that's fine then. I can beat you senseless, and it'll just be adult on adult crime. I'm just Cool Whip. I appreciate you also being the voice of reason. These two Atlanta
Listen.
trolls. These two trolls, I can't handle it. They're too strong for me.
You know what I thought of?
What do you want, you lippy mofo?
You want to know what I thought of when I heard of the 50-50s? You can meter burn and get a 50-50. I thought of every character in the game having a Grundy trait grab for free at the end of every combo. Is that weird?
I mean, was it Grundy your
doesn't
first man?
set them in a standing reset state, though.
Well, it does. The 50-50 throw, like the throw meter burn, puts them in a 50-50 reset, right?
But
No. You grab them and then they stand there.
Yeah, and then, like, let's say you're a grapple character and you get an unblockable throw, like Grundy does.
He grabs him, he slams him around, though.
So wait, so you're essentially saying the meter burn throw works like Grundy's overhead, and then you can go to trade grab.
Yeah, like, it kind of works that way. Obviously, I don't know frame advantage, but I fantasize about that.
And this is why we don't speculate. This is
why.
Mike, I was with you at first, but you just went full retard.
No.
I don't know what happened. You must have drank half the bottle of bourbon you have right now. Who are you?
I actually can't drink tonight.
So you're just naturally this ridiculous.
Is that why you're hosting tonight?
That was my first thought.
Folks, but he can lie.
Yeah.
I can't lie. This is
lying on the internet. Unbelievable.
That was my first thought. I mean, anyways, you guys suck.
No, you suck.
So
the moral of the story is
Goro's gonna be broke.
I understand why all you guys enjoy the speculation, and behind closed doors, that's fine. But it would be extremely hypocritical of me for blowing up all the Injustice players for putting bad information out and asking for them to get infracted, for me to not be as harsh, if not harsher, on the MKX threads that are doing the same thing. It's just bad information. And on top of it, even the information, this is what blows my mind so much, even the information that is correct, which I'm sure is a very low amount, but even the good information could be rendered false by the next fucking build that the company does as they continue to evolve the game as they create it. None of this matters. The only thing that matters is that the characters are in the game. It blows my... But we know why they do it. We know why people are doing it. Because somewhere, somehow, a year from now, if you throw enough shit against the wall, some of it is accidentally going to stick. And then someone's going to be like, look, man, I told you idiots in November that Ferritor was broke.
He's the best zoner.
Yeah, I told you guys this. I mean, Jesus, ignoring the 50 other things that particular person may have said that was wrong, they just want to get their one moment in the sun so they can be like, I fucking told you guys, man. I don't know how you didn't see this coming. It was so obvious 5 months before the game came out. Get out of here.
That's going to be me when people complain about Goro.
Can we actually focus on the concrete takeaways, what we know for sure? Paolo was in the stream. He said the throw system works like it does in MK9 and not like Injustice. So there's no button for actually teching throws. Again, this might be subject to change, but this is coming from Paolo here. So I think that's a bit more reliable than, say, Doombox. The other thing,
real quick on that note, so we don't lose it, and someone will have to correct me, and I will apologize profusely if I'm incorrect. But isn't one of the things Doombox said that it's the Injustice throw break system?
What?
Oh, I don't know.
I can find that.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I am fairly positive one of the Doombox informational pieces was that you broke Injustice style, not MK style, which is a complete contradiction to Paulo Garcia.
Well, if you don't know entirely how the MK style throw break works,
don't you mash it?
It could be understandable why you might mix them up.
So then, why are you talking?
Well, that's another point entirely.
Well, then, we've gotten to the crux of the matter, haven't we? I'm sorry, Cool Whip, I did not mean to interrupt, but I didn't want that point to get lost. I will apologize in the thread if after we go back and look if I was wrong, but I feel pretty confident that I saw somewhere Doombox say that. Anyways,
-1 for talking too much. Go ahead, Cool Whip.
You're going to have to subtract a shitload from me then, bro.
I think he's already done that after you just blew him up. But the other thing I noticed, and this might change, but I don't know if it will, the chip damage on normals. It's more akin to Injustice. No, this is not speculation. This is just I observed that whenever somebody was blocking and somebody does this block string, there was no significant chip damage. That's all I'm saying. Based on what we saw. I'm not saying this is going to be in the game or anything. I'm just saying, definitely compared to the chip damage on normal was extremely minimal in the build that they were playing. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. I saw that as well. I feel like they've maybe taken into account more of the Injustice style chip, where specials do a significant amount of chip, and normals are very less important in the chip game. I noticed that too. I'm hoping that's not the case because I like doing chip damage. I think it's a interesting metagame.
I think every Johnny Cage player in the world agrees with you.
Yeah, move to Chicago and play Dizzy 3 times a week and tell me how you feel about chip on normals.
I played Scarlet, so I was all about that chip on normals.
Yeah, it's broke. You're broke.
Broke. Well,
Right.
What?
What? It just happened.
To HomeLee, yeah. There goes that sinister laugh again.
It's the most evil laugh I've ever heard.
Dude,
I've
I
had
do that laugh
nightmares.
every time I beat Fly in a match. I do it every time.
Laugh of Fu Manchu, Jesus.
So that's what, like 40 times per set?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I mean, I've heard Batman bodies Nightwing, so probably.
I don't think you guys know. I may body Fly in casuals, but he bodies me in tournament.
I don't think
Casuals
our sets
matter
go
more.
that lopsided to where you can say body. It doesn't happen.
Let's talk
I don't
about
know.
it, boys. Let's air
If
this
you-
out. You body him?
How I be Fly, there's a stream. I'm pretty sure we played about 65 games and you only won 2.
That is
So
not
you're
true.
counting.
That is not true at all, my friend.
And I think those 2 you won, I was on the phone with my girlfriend.
I don't think this happened at all. 2 wins? No, I haven't been beaten that bad since I played Pig offline in my basement.
If I could find that video on Armando's stream, I'll link it to you. And then if it actually was that bad, Mike, we're going to watch that whole entire stream again, and I'm just going to laugh at you.
That's fine.
What a scumbag.
That's fine.
Oh, man. You
I
guys
can own
got
it.
some scores to report on 2YM, it sounds like.
Yeah.
We're gonna finalize the Batman Nightwing matchup.
I always knew you were part of Team Gots. I always knew.
By the way,
No,
HomeLee,
I own Team Gods. What are you talking about?
HomeLee, Fly
What's
bodying you in tournament doesn't mean he's the better player. It just means he's better at a first to 2 set.
Yeah, wait.
Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta hold that, Mike. I bought you online.
God, that raw Helios logic.
Exactly.
Man.
You're
Man,
just better at a first to 2
All
set.
right.
Did
I
you,
think
Did
Ross logic should be a topic for another episode, but we shouldn't get into that.
there's only
Oh,
one
not yet.
question. This will settle the entire topic. It's very simple. HomeLee, the last time you and Mike played a first to 10 online, who won?
Oh, I did.
There it is. Batman beats
Damn.
Nightwing. Flies. Sorry.
That's okay.
Back it up, son.
I have
Well,
no
Fly
shame
probably
in
agrees
losing
that
to
Batman
HomeLee.
wins.
I actually think it's a fairly 5-5 matchup.
I agree. It is.
HomeLee
No.
ducked me at final round.
Wait, what?
HomeLee ducked me at final round.
Actually, Jack, you ducked me. I found a console for you to practice with. Who's the Lobo player? I forgot his name. Oh man, it sucks.
Phil Pops.
Phil Pops. Yeah, I got you guys a station to practice on when I could have played you, but I was like,
So,
no.
I didn't.
saved it.
So
for
I
you.
didn't duck you. I was helping my teammate before a tournament match.
So you were ducking me.
Wow.
Yes, you did it.
I'm
No,
blessed.
no,
We'll play next time though, for real.
no, I'm ducking.
So
Oh, man.
I think this is a good kind of transition into the next topic I have, which is, and this was a really good topic. We actually, when we created these topics, I had everybody on the panel kind of shoot out 4 or 5 topics that they thought were valuable. And this one came from Ken. I think it might be one of the highlights. And this is how much stock, if any, should NRS actually put into TYM posters and their opinions about buffs and nerfs as far as patches go for MKX. And we're going to start with Ken, since he deferred on the last topic. You're first, buddy.
I suggested this topic. I don't know if you guys have noticed a trend in this call, but I'm kind of mad at the majority of TYM and the postings that they put up. And I sincerely hope that the way that this all works would be, this actually might surprise you guys though, that NRS does look at TYM, and that they do read everything that everyone says, and then reject 99% of it. Here's why. You can look at any game. This isn't even just fighting games. Go to the BioWare forums and look up Mass Effect 3. Go to wherever the new KI forums are. Go to SRK. Go to World of Warcraft forums. Just any game. And the forums are littered with people demanding buffs and nerfs because they can't handle something or something's just not working right, and they constantly piss and moan and complain, yada, yada, end on end. And it's a shame because, as we know, Apollo has an account on TYM, and he does post occasionally, so he is looking. I hope the company sees the things that people are asking for and rejects most of them, because the ideas, more often than not, are just salt-based. There should be a buffer. If we could find a magical way to make TYM hook up with everyone's console at 5 hours after, or for a 5-hour window after they get off Injustice Online, they cannot post on TYM, they're frozen out, that would be perfect. Because people lose an online set, get mad, and then go post a list of buff and nerf demands. And here is the reality, ladies and gentlemen. You may know your character very well. I'm not saying that you don't. You may also believe that you know a matchup well, or you may know your opponent's character well. The reality is, as has been shown in every game we've ever seen, that things always get discovered that are new. Things always get better or get worse as time goes on, and you have to allow that shit to develop. You have to. And if you are buffing and nerfing based on quick reactions from whiny people that are playing online on the Test Your Might website, that is a huge mistake, and it created a lot of problems, in my opinion, in Injustice. There's a lot of buffs and nerfs that came that appear. Now, let me be clear, do not know this as fact. I do not know this as gospel. It's not like I've spoken to anyone at NRS who said, yes, we definitely made this change because so-and-so was complaining. But it does appear that because of certain people, certain groups bitching about things, that changes were made that in the end ended up not actually being necessary.
Like Scorpion?
And Bane didn't need all those buffs. It appears he was just fine before, things of that nature. Maybe not just fine, but I mean, hey, I'm sorry, some characters are going to have to be mid to low mid. They don't have to, fucking crush half the cast. But anyways, the only point that I'm making is I really hope that it's not paid attention to, because the ultimate reality is most of the people have tunnel vision, which is actually not even a blow-up. Of course you want your character to be good. Of course you want your character to have answers. But only the designers at NRS, only Paulo, actually understands what he's going for and what he's trying to do. And if we just start taking every fucking idea that every nincompoop with a free forum account puts somewhere, the game would be an absolute disaster.
That's an extra point for using nincompoop.
Thank you. That's all. I've talked way too much. I'll let these three guys go apeshit, and I'll be quiet for a while. But I'm super concerned over the everyone gets an opinion thing, because sometimes people's ideas are really shitty.
So, Cool, you've been pretty quiet, I think, this podcast. I want you to give us your 2 cents.
All right. I don't want to sound like a shill or a suck up, but could it be for real that NRS probably know what they're doing more than at least 99% of TYM, including top players? Is that a possibility that we can entertain? And I know what people are going to post in the thread for this podcast. Oh yeah, because they're going to point out to some bullshit mechanic in some game that they didn't like that everybody said would be terrible. Okay, because 17% chip on Trident Rush is totally fair. All right, no, I'm not saying everything NRS does is perfect. But think about what that means. You're taking one move, okay, that happens to dominate a game. I'm not suggesting otherwise. But you're taking one move within 2 games and using it as your basis. No, listen, it's definitely a learning process even for NRS. They've obviously learned some things about balance from Mortal Kombat and done a better job at Injustice. I think... Yeah, I know Wonder Chef will disagree with what I'm saying. I know. All right, I'll stop with Wonder Chef. I don't want to put too much people on blast. I think he's enough. But Injustice is a more balanced game than Mortal Kombat. Just the mere fact that we all universally agree that the shitters are able to compete is already a step above Mortal Kombat. Now, you can say, oh, why would you have to settle for that? Why won't we settle for absolute balance? Well, first of all, because that doesn't exist. Secondly, because it's not nearly as easy as it sounds, as evidenced by all the ludicrous suggestions we read on TYM. If it were that easy, you guys' suggestion wouldn't suck so much. Obviously, NRS have proven to be very capable at making fighting games. They've proven to be extremely creative, innovative. They're awesome at making fun fighting games, which, deny it all you want, I'll take that over, say, Virtua Fighter 4 or 5 or whatever that game was. I'll take that over...
Amen.
I mean, what's that?
I said amen, like preach.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were a Virtua Fighter fan and you kind of got offended.
No, I agree with you. Too complicated.
Exactly. Like, listen, maybe I'm a scrub, but I want to have fun when I play. Maybe that's a scrub mentality. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't want balance, but... give me cool designs any day of the week. I actually heard people say that Bane's design sucked in Injustice. I mean, say what you want about Bane, but his design is awesome. It's cool as hell. The concept is extremely creative. So by doing that, yes, there will be some broken shit or some overpowered shit. Especially, I mean, with Mortal Kombat, with the variations, we know that this is going to happen for sure. But how about we keep a level head, we wait, we see how things unfold, and react accordingly. And how about we're not presumptuous enough to assume that your average Joe on TYM knows any better than the lead designers of the game? How about that? I mean, honestly, I'm not saying just because they developed the game, then they're always right. That's definitely not the case. Well, otherwise, they would never need to patch it to begin with. But surely... What's that? I'm
sorry, I wanted to interrupt to ask you a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
The NRS game history, if you think about it, we had, Deception. We had, and I'm thinking of when the online communities really started. So Deception was kind of where I came in and my history starts. Then you've got Armageddon. Then you've got MK versus DC. Then you've got MK9. Then you've got Injustice. Like, they produced some shitty games. And only in the past,
was awesome.
It was awesome, but it was still a shitty game. Like, it was the fun aspect of what Cool Whip is talking about, but it was broken, unbalanced, like crazy. Only in the past 2 games, MK9 and Injustice, had they started to get things right, and some people even debate that. So I think people are right to question NRS in some stances, but
okay, let me explain that then. It was only when they made MK9 that they were generally making a tournament fighter. You have to take that into account. I mean, when they generally took the competitive community into account, I think.
Well, that's part of their awareness. I think that's more of an awareness issue on the development team standpoint.
But what I mean
is it an awareness issue, or did they just make... again, I don't think anyone here knows. We're just spitballing. So just to be clear, when people are listening, we're not telling you we have crazy inside knowledge. But
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
Jax.
it's I will kill you. It seemed to me that, yeah, I'm with Cool Whip, that MK9 was the first time that they were like, you know what? Let's give this thing a whirl. Let's see if we can make a tournament standard fighter. And it seemed to me that the games before that, that wasn't what their goal was. They were doing the quote MK thing, let's have some fun. So, yeah, you're right. Those previous games may have been shitters from a competitive standpoint, but I mean, I don't know too many people that like MKDC. People liked it, but wasn't what it was intended to be. It seemed to me. It did not seem to be that it was intended to be a competitive game like Street Fighter.
That game was a broken piece of shit.
No, it was terrible. That's the only MK game I ever bought that I sold back.
I think another big part of it is that people, I don't think, actually know what they want a lot of the time. Like, for example, a lot of the Bane players just couldn't function the way the character worked. So they were all like, oh, he needs a better dash, or he needs this, and that. They don't really know like what they want. And the developers, that means nothing to the developers, by the way. That just means it's just a bunch of unfocused things. Like I'm pretty sure, I can't remember who. I think I saw someone at Evo explain to Ed that they didn't like Injustice that much, but they liked Mortal Kombat because of the footsies. I think Ed's face looked like the guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark when his face melts when he looks at the art. He had no idea what was happening because he doesn't know what that means. And I don't think anybody, if you told a person, look, I just want a game with footsies. What? Well, thanks a lot, Sherlock. Like, they don't know what that means. So I think people need to really focus their thoughts. And if they are going to make, I don't think that it's a bad thing that they look at the forums at all. But I think people should try and focus their thoughts, not just this, this word vomit that comes out of the forums. And it just makes for, like, people don't know what they want. And then you get like Scorpion, where he's just utter garbage, where no one thought about, like, let's find out how to make a character. They found out, let's get rid of his tools. It was like, it helped nothing. And I think people need to be more recognizing of what they want versus what they want gone.
Does Ed Boon really not know what footsies means? I think he does.
I don't think he does at all, and he shouldn't care. Why would he care?
Yeah, why would Paulo?
Yeah.
Okay, if Paulo doesn't know what that is, then maybe I'm listening to you. But yeah, Ed Boon, his job isn't to know what footsies is.
I mean, you don't think he picked it up just being in the
I think he has
freaking
a
genre
vague
he's in?
understanding. Probably just like he's heard the term, he's vaguely aware of what it's supposed to represent, and that's about it.
I mean, I don't know what HomeLee does, but I assume it has something to do with computers and math.
Damn.
What's up? My bad. I'm staring at my screen because Xbox Live has crashed because everyone wants to play Halo, and I think I'm ahead of everyone right now because my update's at 88%, and the last message I got was from Jug saying he's at 36%.
Thank you
Anyways.
for that completely
I know.
useless response.
Okay, so on the topic, honestly, I don't know what to really say without having to repeat what you three just said, but honestly, I feel like they're gonna listen to the whiners. I mean, they're gonna listen to the Fred Marvels, the Miles Wrights, or whatever. I just think if they do decide to do it, they should go with like Bungie's approach to it. Like, for example, when Destiny's Iron Banner event came out, it's basically your equipment will actually matter in PvP, and it will make you feel powerful. And then some guy posted a video where he's level 1 and he's still dominating everyone in the Iron Banner, and people were complaining about it and straight up and all that stuff. And Bungie, said they were going to address it, but they straight up said, of course the equipment's going to give you an advantage, but you also have to be. They pretty much said you have to be good at the game at the same time. So I mean, if they're gonna cater to the whiny babies, I hope NRS just be like, well, maybe you just fucking suck at the game.
I think it's difficult, and I actually do not envy NRS or any game company, any developer for this position when you have forums like this where people are going ape about it because.
Wait, do you think NRS takes stock or look at anything from the Facebook group? Because I noticed at the Facebook group they're always asking for buffs and nerfs, and to this day they're still asking for DLC characters for some godforsaken reason for Injustice.
My guess would be
If they do,
not.
then I don't know, because the Facebook community, like, honestly, the amount of people in there probably over eclipses the amount of people on TYM. And when they're listening to two stupid groups, I mean, they're kind of catered to one of them.
Well, no, but I mean, look, it's no company can completely turn a blind eye. They have to see what's going on, obviously, but that's more of a marketing aspect. From a balance aspect, I'm sorry, I don't want someone who is just flat out not good at the game to have any say at all in determining a change. And the reason that I go back to the Bane thing, and the reason that he comes up so much, this is not the standard LOL, GGA thinks Bane is broke, blah, blah, blah. Here's the problem. Bane just happens to be the poster child for it.
Mm-hmm.
He had issues in certain matches with zoning. Stash was bad. You know, he had some issues, and because of the constant, again, I don't know for sure, but it appears because of the constant complaining that got addressed overly, along with all the changes that then went into his Venom. And the problem is, when you make changes like that, the matchups that he already did well in, he now obliterated. Characters like Green Arrow, Catwoman, and shit, they already went from probably struggling in the match against Bane to having essentially no chance, just to try and give Bane, you know, the 2 or 3 matchups where he was having issues to try and bring them closer to 5-5. And it appears that that stuff all spawns from TYM because, let's face it, if that's the home of competitive gaming, then obviously the people have to have some idea of what they're saying, right? If you're NRS, you have to think, I mean, these guys are all the competitors. They have to know what's going on.
Yeah, but Chris G got top 8.
But the thing is, like, I can't say it enough. The people that post on TOM, they don't compete.
No, that's my point. That's why I'm hoping, my hope is that it changes this time around. That it is understood that these people don't compete, and that it is understood that just because a bunch of people are posting it doesn't mean that it needs to be paid attention to.
Man.
Well, I mean, here's my hope for this.
James MK is going to blow us up because his concept is if you buy the game, every word you say it's contributing to the game.
I mean, okay, but there is some truth to what you just said and what James MK says. I mean, here's the thing, is the people who listen to this, the people that play the game are all going to post. I'm hoping that, you know, if in some miracle we can help influence some people to be more competitive and create more of an offline tournament scene and support the standard that we've created. And I say we as in the community have created as the standard. I mean, that to me is what the competitive fighting game system is all about and why I'm so drawn to it. It's not to play online. There's so much fun that I have in grinding the game in practice mode and playing against my friends, but there's nothing better than a great tournament experience. Nothing better than that, hands down. And I just hope that the people that haven't gotten to experience that yet understand how valuable it is and how much it's going to change the way that they look at fighters and the way that they think about competition. I don't know. That's what I want people to walk away from, not the fact that we're blowing up, you know, people that don't go to tournaments, because
it's not like we're saying that. It's like if you have good reasoning behind why you think things should be like changed, like, you know, Revolver getting 10-0'd by Hitbox Zod. Like, I get, like, someone showed video proof like Lex can't move against Hitbox Zod. You know, that's reasonable, but, like, you know, if you're just flat out, you come off, like Jack said, if you're coming off a salty set online and you're bitching about it, just shut the fuck up.
I mean, I'm sure that I will get crucified for this, and that's fine. Blow me up. But in my world, if you told me you can only have one, you can only pick that either A, NRS is going to listen to the community for everything, and all patches will come from community suggestions, or all patches will come from Paulo and NRS employees, I'm taking the latter. That's all. And because I err on that side, because I trust that over all of 2IM, then it leads me to me not wanting that to have a big influence. But at the same time, realistic, and I feel like I've kind of been a dick here. There are good ideas that come from it. The problem is sifting through all of it, and how many bad ideas are going to have to get taken to get the good ones, and it just concerns me. That's all. Just concerns me.
Guys.
Hey, you know there's a Mortal Kombat X and its future with patches thread already?
I just threw up in my mouth.
I have 6 words for you guys. I don't know if I'm sure HomeLee will not get the reference. I don't know
That's
what you.
more than 6. That's more than 6 already. Infract him.
Oh my gosh! If you start grammar policing, I'm kicking you off right now.
That's 2 people who now want to beat you up. I bring you the invincible Kano. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
Anybody who listens to this, if you get the reference, good on you.
No, I don't.
Obviously. Hippo, I think, will get it.
You youngins.
No, I get it, and it was. I mean, you can keep it with Injustice, though. The Scorpion thing that Hippo brought up is case in point. That's
Yeah. Also, I think people don't give credit enough to like for example, a lot of people think that the community got Deathstroke nerfed, but if you think about the time period, that doesn't actually make any sense because Deathstroke was changed within the first month of the game. Patches can't get made in a month.
Yeah.
They need to go through an extensive process of being approved by Microsoft. That takes almost a month, as far as I know. That
yeah, it's
patch
not
wasn't-
just NRS. You're right. It has NRS has to make the patch, and then Microsoft has to make sure whatever that it's not going to blow up their code or whatever the hell they do with it.
That patch must have been made prior to release, and they probably just couldn't ship it in time, which is probably what happened. You have to give credit. Deathstroke was a problem. Like, for all those people who bitched about it, it's true. He was a problem. The fact that characters couldn't move against him is bad design. And Paulo and his in-house team was smart enough to realize that and change it before the game came out. It's just unfortunately that wasn't able to be, with it at release. But I think, to me, that gives them, give them some credit there. They caught a problem and removed it. It just didn't come out in time. So I think they know what they're doing generally, and I'm willing to trust them. But I do think that not all community submissions should be written off. There are some good ones, but I think there are enough evidence to show that they do a pretty damn good job of what they do.
Yeah, I mean,
Although I do remember a video made by 2 certain top players showing how Lex Luthor can move in between Deathstroke's low gunshots. And he wasn't moving at all most of the time.
Well, I mean, that's when agendas come into play. That's when 2 people decide to go on power trips and decide they want to be the authorities. And everybody just believes it for no reason. We don't need to get into that.
Sounds like
I'm
we do.
just starting to
That's going to need to be next week's show because we'll go on for 2 hours on that.
Well, I don't know if anybody cares, but what about the points? Who do you guys think is ahead right now?
Wow,
I
can it get
think-
even more arbitrary?
I actually think Saucy Jack's in the lead. Probably, I want to say, if Mike can count right, I want to say probably he's at 26 points.
Oh my gosh, no.
What?
Not that many points. So, all right, so the 2 leaders, I'm not going to give who's ahead of who, but Saucy Jack and Cool Whip are in the lead right now. Okay, and we have one more topic.
Mike, is it who is ahead of who or of whom?
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Not you anymore, bro. Not
I'm
you.
no longer in the lead.
Oh my god. I think I'm going to bed now. Hippo and HomeLee are behind. HomeLee, you might as well go to bed because you're not. I don't think there's a way you can catch up.
I honestly don't know how I'm doing so bad. I'm actually contributing more than last week.
Halo.
Well, you had a -1 for the Halo randomness.
Oh
And-
my god, you just don't understand my feels right now of the game.
I mean, you were doing okay at the beginning, and I think once you started downloading Halo, I think you just got distracted.
I said one comment about it.
Are you gonna cry?
No, because I'm actually at 91% now.
Oh my god.
I'm never gonna win one of these.
But Hippo, you're not too far behind, buddy. I think there's 2 points behind the winner, or the person in the lead right now. So I think you 3, you got to duke it out in this last one to see who's going to win for the winner's discussion topic, which will be a fun one.
Right.
So the last topic that we're going to talk about before we get to the winner's final round is the concept of the variation system for MKX and the tournament standard. There's been some posts about this already, and it's an interesting conversation to have, and Granted, we don't have all the information yet, but we know enough to be able to debate this topic. And I don't really know how it's going to work. I've been trying to think about it. How will the tournament standard of, loser repicks work? Is it going to be the worst counterpicking game that we have ever seen? What are your thoughts? Whoever wants to jump in.
Well, I'll go ahead and say that I'm not sure what the rules should be. I haven't really thought about it that much, but I will say this. I think rules of that nature, they need to be established early. Injustice at launch was a joke. The 50-50 stage rule, with the way the stages were, it's as close to cheating as you could possibly get without actually doing it because the game lets you. But it was absurd how easy it was for someone to run to rooftop, and you'd probably get it. You'd probably get it. The way the game favors it is there's no random, just straight 50-50. You're probably going to get it. And I think, and even then, we had stage counterpicking in Mortal Kombat. There, you need to do double random for everything. Every other game does double random on stages and everything. For example, in Soul Calibur and Tekken, if you want to pick a different stage, you go double random. You don't have an option. You cannot pick your stage. You have to go double random. I don't think it's okay to have rules linger like that and then not have certain things. I mean, we saw people taking advantage of the 50-50 rule even after it was already determined that we shouldn't do it anymore and they wouldn't get called out on it. Yes, I'm talking about playing to win. Absolutely disgusting. These kind of things need to be established early. So I do think you're right. We need to open up talks. I won't say that I've thought about it enough to really have a cognizant point there, but I do think that discussion needs to be opened.
I agree. I found the beginning of Injustice from a tournament standpoint to be very difficult to swallow as a scene. It was brutal, and it should have been all fixed once. I don't remember which patch number it was, but when the patch for the random got put in, I thought that would be the end of it, but apparently not. As far as stages go, I'm with you. I agree it should be random from the beginning. And what's interesting about bringing this up is this is on us. This is on TYM. Unlike other things like balance and stuff, I mean, there is nowhere else to go. If TYM wants to be the home of competitive NRS games, if it wants to be the home of competitive MKX, then that decision needs to be made as a community, and then someone needs to let the TOs know. It's very simple. All the TOs have Twitters. They all have all sorts of crap. I'm sure the community can get it out to them. They monitor TYM themselves. They look around. But I'm with you on that. I think opening those talks earlier wouldn't be a problem. However, what up?
I would say, talking about early would help, but if you're talking about early, would it be possible for anyone to come to a solid conclusion on what should be what? Because wasn't in the beginning of Injustice lifespan, tournament lifespan, wasn't it the loser got to pick the stage if they chose to if they wanted to?
Initially, the loser could pick the stage, and that's where you got the stage counter picking, and that's
the first local that I went to before. I was already aware of the 50-50 rule, but then the guy that was playing against the grand final was like, "Nah, dude, it's I get to pick the stage now." And every time he went to Watchtower, and I was like, "God, you motherfucker."
Well, in MK9, loser got to pick the stage as well, and that's why I think it would be good. And I agree with Hippo. Discussion should come up early on that. As for the variations, Mike, that you asked about, I don't actually see from just a logical standpoint how it's any different than any other fighting game. What is the difference? So let's just say Sub-Zero and Scorpion, right? Let's say one of Sub-Zero's variations gets bodied by Scorpion, so Sub-Zero has to use a different variation to combat him. How is that any different than picking a different character? You know what I mean? The counter picking, it's still the same. If you have something that you're getting bodied on, you just switch it up to a different character, or you switch it up to a different variation. The counter pick is a counter pick, so I actually don't think it will change it. I think it's going to be super interesting to see how the game develops when you have all the characters plus all their variations. Matchups are going to be insane to learn. I'm very excited about that. I think it's cool, but I I don't think there will be any more counterpicking per se compared to any other game. I mean, counterpicking.
So
If you're someone who counterpicks, you counterpick. You know.
So what about the whole variation thing? Because I have seen people post that will say like, so what if like Scorpion A wins round 1 against, or the first match against Sub-Zero B, and then Sub-Zero decides to go back to pick another character, and then people are asking, does Scorpion A get to choose another variation for the next fight? I would say if you win your match, and the person that lost goes back to character select, the winner still has to stay with the variation he picked, because why would you allow the person that won to get a chance to counterpick your counterpick? That's like pretty much killing the counterpicking meta, you know? Like that's no. If you win, like I believe if you win a match, whichever variation you used, you need to stick with that one unless you lose the next match, then you can be free to choose your next one again.
I agree.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, sorry. I'm saying I agree. I know when I talked about it, I couldn't stay in that thread too long because kind of started getting pissed off. When I talked about it, somebody gave me an example from other games like Ultra and whatever, where the winner gets to change his Ultra or something. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with that. But to me, in order to avoid...
You gotta remember, though, Ultras aren't like, you know, character changing, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not like, you know, defining the character. Like, what if Scorpion A is a full-on zoner, but then Scorpion B is a full-on rushdown? You know, it's like that.
It doesn't drastically change the matchup, whereas this might. And I mean, think of it this way: we don't have the game yet, but it's safe to say that a Raiden with a teleport is drastically different than a Raiden who doesn't have that ability, or a Sub-Zero that has the ability to place an ice clone is drastically different to a Sub-Zero that doesn't. Just as far as just logic dictates. This is not really. I mean, I don't know how the game is going to work or anything, but it makes sense to think that such an important move would sway the matchup one way or the other. So. The idea is, if I'm the winner, if I win the first match using Raiden's not displacer variation, whichever one doesn't have a teleport, and in my opponent goes to say a zoner, so I would immediately go to through Raiden Displacer just because I could get around zoning. I'm just giving an example. I know some people said, well, the winner could change his variation before the loser actually picks his character or whatever. But then you're overcomplicating this way too much. The rules are going to be a clusterfuck to enforce. Hippo brought up Injustice, which was a great point. I mean, think about it. The rules, the stage selection rules for Injustice should have been straightforward as hell, and yet we couldn't agree on that for some reason. And I think we waited till after EVO. We went to EVO with the stupid 50-50 rules. Even with the UFGT debacle, which was a train wreck, with Dizzy versus 16-bit and PL versus Godspeed or something. Those sets were a joke. So I don't want that to happen again in MKX. So I think to stay on the safe side, it makes far more sense to say the winner should keep both variation and character, obviously. And then as we see how the game unfolds, how it works, maybe we'll think about changing the rules then as we learn more about the game. But at first, to stay on the safe side, I definitely think the winner should stay locked to everything. Because think of it this way. That's why I have the ability to counterpick if I lose, because I just played a match against you, and now I'm making adjustments accordingly. But if you go and change your variation, then my adjustments would need to change. They're no longer based on that first match that I lost, because now you have a different tool at your disposal, which might be unfair, I'd argue.
So the question becomes, and I think this is why we seem to all kind of be in agreement, but it seems, to me at least, to logically make sense, and I'm just going to use them as A, B, and C for the three variations because it's easier. Scorpion A, Scorpion B, Scorpion C, right? They're all different characters. Like, the point of the variation is that it's a different character now because they do different things. Well, if currently in games at competitions, when you win, you are locked to your character, then it would make sense that at MKX you are locked to, Scorpion A if that's what you played, because that is your character. You know what I mean? Scorpion B is not the same character as Scorpion A.
Yes.
So it would make sense that the winner is locked in to Scorpion A.
Yes.
Well, what I would like to see, and I don't know if I think this is a good idea or a bad idea, but if NRS is making this game with a tournament standard in mind, don't you think they have some type of preconceived concept as to what it should look like? In terms of a first to 2 or first to 3. I mean, I've heard, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that Paulo has said, yeah, Injustice was always meant to be 3 out of 5. So
He actually posted that on TYM.
So if that's the case, why did he wait so long to post it? And why can't we get the opinion of the creators of the game up front and say, hey, this is what we think the game would be good. Obviously, things are going to change as you explore and you find out how the momentum changes and whatever. But maybe they have an idea already and they just haven't shared it yet. I don't know. I'd like to hear what their thoughts are on this.
I'm with you. Actually, I think that would be a good idea. Now, I don't know if they want to do that. You know what I mean? Who knows what they want to do internally? But I don't see a problem with Paulo making a post on TYM, or they do a stream or something where, you know, Paulo comes out and he says, well, just so you guys know, the way we intended this to be for competition is, you know, first to 3, you're locked into your variation, interactables on, or, you know, whatever they believe it should be. But if I personally agree with you. I would like to see that. That would be cool.
I mean, we still have the opportunity to discuss and debate, but if they have an opinion, I think that's worth more to hear out than to keep silenced.
I think it's worth it to hear their opinion, but if we can't get it, I also think it's worth it to look at games that had something similar and how they dealt with it. For example, there's older games like Capcom vs. SNK 2 where you had not variations exactly, but you had different grooves which let characters interact completely differently than they would from the other one. For example, A groove had a roll, whereas K groove you had a rage meter that grew up and lets you actually, you know, get more powerful as the game went on. Things like that could change some characters for the better, and some characters were better in different variations than others. But sometimes for certain things, they probably wanted the roll just for the invincibility that the A groove brought. And I don't know how they did it, but I think it might be worth to look into how those games dealt with that. And I'm sure there's a plethora of other fighting games that have had similar mechanics. We could find a middle ground here. I don't think variations are that much different from things that have come before that we can't find a decent middle ground.
Here's what's important. Whatever it is, regardless of whether people agree with us or not, is not important. What is important is that we, the community, the competitive NRS players, do come to a consensus and an agreement in some way and let the TOs know, because if Injustice has taught us anything, and I don't even mean this as a blow-up, that's a conversation for another day, but I mean, when these TOs, NRS is not the only game there, you know what I mean? They've got a lot of stuff they have to pay attention to, and I'm sure very low on their list is rules over variation selects. So we are the ones that have to decide what we want, and we are the ones that need to let the TOs know so that there isn't a problem. You know what I mean? If that was the issue with Injustice, we really didn't talk about it. People bitched about it one way or the other, but we never made a decision as a community. We never alerted TOs to that decision. We just kind of let it float, and that's why we were stuck in the quagmire of bad stage selection for months and months and months. I think we need to get ahead of it this time, know what we want to do as much as possible, and let TOs know when we as a community have come to some sort of consensus.
So on that point, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to read off the points so that we all know who is the losers of tonight's episode and then who are the winners. So loser number 1 is HomeLee.
How many points I get, though?
With 16 points.
So what were my deductions? I demand an explanation.
You lose a deduction for bringing up Destiny. You lose a point for bringing up your download of Halo. And then you gained a point for not bringing up an Asian reference the whole time. So
why was bringing up Destiny a bad point?
Because it's Destiny.
Because you just started talking about how much you hated Destiny the other day to me, and then you're talking about how you think the way that
Are you just mad because I didn't help you get your equipment?
Yes, I am. And Hippo got 18 points and was barely outscored by Cool Whip at 19 and Saucy Jack at 20. So it was a close game all the way through.
I wasn't that far behind then.
No, you actually made it up on this last point. You had some good ones. You got 3 points on this last one. So the final conversation point is going to be between Saucy Jack and Cool Whip for this week's winner. And the topic is, you'll each will have 2 minutes to discuss, and we're going to keep it quick and brief. This topic can be controversial, but also funny. Certain characters, a.k.a. Bane, a.k.a. Doomsday, in the opinion of some members of the community, completely negate footsies and destroy what is the common footsie game of fighting games in general. Are they brain dead? Are they not? And will their representatives be useless in MKX? Cool Whip, you have the floor.
All right. To answer first question, no, they're not brain dead. However, we can't deny that in certain situations, they require, I don't want to say less thinking per se, but the risk-reward is heavily in their favor. For example, if Bane knocks you down in the corner, the guessing game is so heavily in their favor that you hardly have to make godlike reads in that particular situation. So we don't want to be disingenuous and kind of downplay the fact that Doomsday, if he trades up or just uses his Mutaburn shoulder or whatever, he's in for free. Or that Earthshake is not an easy move to block, especially when he can mix it up with so many different aspects. However, we also can't deny that the top representatives, or some of the top representatives for these characters, have great fundamentals and great spacing and great footsies, such as White Boy and Max, who I believe both will be great in MK9. What we also shouldn't disregard is MKX. What we also shouldn't disregard is the fact that who's to say there won't be similar characters in MKX? If we know NRS, and I think we do, they like making this sort of characters. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. You have so many characters, so many variations. Who's to say, are we really to believe? Because it makes me laugh when people say, oh, what's going to happen when MKX doesn't have these, autopilot characters and brain-dead characters? Really? You don't think NRS is going to make something deliberately powerful? That's kind of actually in part that's the appeal. I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but they like giving these tools. I think Paolo enjoys that. He kind of alluded to that a lot of times. They like giving these tools, so it might happen, and these same players might find a character that suits them. I'm not saying a character could never kind of compensate for deficiencies in your game, but I think, to answer the question, no, I think top Doomsday and Bane players will do fine in MKX.
Okay, good point. You got a tough one. Ken, what are you going to do?
Well, it's pretty simple. Bane and Doomsday, first of all, for the people that say that Bane and Doomsday are not footsie characters, you're wrong. I'm very sorry that you don't understand what's going on. But Doomsday's down 1, Doomsday's sweep. The reason that these characters are problems are footsies like that. Bane and Doomsday, their down 1s are insane. Bane's down 2, insane. Here's the point. The top guys, as Cool Whip pointed out, your Maxes, your White Boys, Newbie on Doomsday, etc. A couple more guys, but the top guys, they'll figure it out. The people that are going to suffer are the people that only get wins based on the non-footsie aspects. And those people are already not successful, so it's not going to be a big change. When you are a Bane player and the only way that you win, the few times that you get your wins every now and then against your buddies online, is because you managed to get a lucky knockdown and then you could do Bane-related activities while they were on their back, yeah, you're going to be in trouble if you don't have a character similar to that because you have been carried by a crutch the entire time. The myth, the fallacy is that these characters are not footsie based. The problem with Bane, the core issue, is actually that his footsies are so damn strong. The issue with Doomsday is not shoulder, it's that his down one cripples this game with bad movement. The footsies are actually strong. So yes, they have moves that can sometimes make it feel like footsies is never being played. Doomsday's shoulder, yeah, I get it. Sometimes he's just in your face and there's nothing you can do about it because of the shoulder. That's the nature of the character. But Doomsday doesn't beat you just with shoulder and Earthshaker. His down one and his down three regulating that space where you have to dash, that's the problem. So the real answer is the super top guys, they'll be fine because they already play footsies with these characters. The guys that are getting by just on the non-footsie gimmicks, they're fucked in MKX if they don't have a similar character.
Both are good points. I'd say the biggest difference from MK9 to Injustice was that the top characters, debatably, I think at this point are still, Cabal, Sonya, Cyrax, Smoke. Who am I missing?
Kenshi. You of all
Kenshi.
people
Yeah,
should
how
remember.
did you miss Kenshi? That's actually
Yeah, sorry about that. And Kenshi. But Kenshi being probably the easiest to use of all of those characters, a lot of those in Kung Lao, very high execution characters. I mean, Cabal, Cyrax. I mean, Cyrax is not as execution heavy, but you have to land a lot of things in a row to make that work. There's some execution, especially with resets like with Smoke. I don't see that same level of execution, though. And it makes me worry because if NRS goes back to that level of execution to be the elite characters, will that give these players an issue who are used to not having to really work on that level of execution? Or is that
Can I
just...
comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Finish up your question first, if you have
Well, I kind of finished it up. I was just blabbering.
Okay. First of all, I get what you're saying, but I don't think the execution as MK9 is that difficult. We've heard it from Cabal players back in 2012 that, oh, well, dude, you don't understand. The execution is so difficult. Listen, it's difficult. It's more difficult than most characters in the game, sure, but I'm sorry. Standing 2 into Nomad Dash Cancel is not the most difficult thing in the world. You'll get it down eventually. I mean, am I supposed to believe that the top players, again, when we're talking about this Fly, we're talking about the top players. I mean, when we're talking about guys like Max, White Boy, these are top players. So I'm supposed to believe that Rio can't, really struggled that much to master Cabal's execution, or Perfect Legend, or whoever else played Cabal. I mean, these are top players with great execution. They'll get it down eventually. So I guess the point I'm saying is NRS games in general are not that execution heavy. Yeah, there are characters whose execution is more difficult than others, but I argue that in the top 6 characters in MK9, being in no particular order, Cabal, Kenshi, Sonya, Cyrax, Freddy, and Kung Lao, only Cabal requires a measure of execution. Smoke's resets, sure, but honestly, I don't even play Smoke as a main, and I get them down kind of consistently because if you practice enough in training mode, you'll get it down. It's more difficult than some other things in the game, but not that difficult.
Wow.
And Cyrax resets are hella easy.
Waffles on blast?
No, Waffles has godlike execution with... I mean, Waffles always on blast. Poor thing. There was a thread discussing Smoke matchups, and Slips just goes in there and inadvertently just blows up Waffles completely. But
you thinking that it was inadvertent is the funny part. Poor Waffles. Go ahead, sorry, finish.
Yeah, just to finish up, I agree that Injustice, I don't think any, especially top-tier character, has Cabal level executions, or even Scarlet level executions, or something like that, which happen to be 2 characters you played Fly, so I'm kind of giving you credit here. But they're easier, but at the same time, I don't think Cabal is that difficult execution-wise. And even if he was, it really doesn't compensate for all the godlike tools he has to where we'll go like, oh yeah, dude, these Cabal players, they have it tough. They have to master these Nomad Dash cancels, these, instant air fireballs. Doesn't matter. And you still have to be really good to win with them. For the most part. So it doesn't worry me.
Well, when I see people freaking out about Doomsday landing a back 3 combo, I want to just shoot somebody.
I mean, depending on the hitbox of the character and what he started it with, and if he didn't do a down 2 in there, I mean, that's kind of a tight window. There are some things in Injustice that are execution heavy, but no matter what they do, well, I shouldn't say no matter what, because I don't know what they're doing in MKX, but based on NRS's past history, it's not like all of a sudden we're going to have a ton of evil Ryus running around that have one-frame links and all their combos. You know what I mean? The jump up in execution, I can't anticipate that it's going to be so difficult that the people that were new to NRS with Injustice, if they want to play MKX, are suddenly going to get demolished by the combo system or something like that, and they won't be able to do it. It's just not NRS's thing. That's just not how their combo systems have worked so far. Now, maybe this game will be different, and maybe it'll change to Street Fighter level execution or Virtual Fighter level execution required. I don't know. I have no idea, but based on their past history, it's not, and there is no reason that the execution window between Injustice and MK is that drastic that someone's going to have a huge issue with that. If someone from Injustice has troubles with MKX, the problems will more likely stem from the fact that the footsie game would, if the footsie game is different than what Injustice is, or the change in how interactables work, or things like that, I don't think anyone that's a solid Injustice player is going to suddenly have all sorts of issues in MKX with execution.
Very good points. Very good points. I have to say, though, I have to give a little bit more strength to Cool Whip's argument. Therefore, the winner of tonight's episode is no one other than Cool Whip.
Then home.
Congratulations, Cool Whip, on your win. How did it make you feel?
Feel great. It worked that I gave you kind of hidden compliments by bringing up Cabal and Scarlet.
It wasn't even hidden. You flat out said I'm giving you props.
Yeah, it's just a
last minute ball suck.
Those are as hidden as Doom's missiles. What are you talking about?
Well, it's just I figured just in case he had too many bourbons in him that he'll miss it, I might as well just spoon feed it.
Oh man!
Thank
I'm
you.
always the bridesmaid.
You know what? You were coming in the lead.
Played Saucy Jack. Don't play the game. Don't blame the game.
I'm not blaming it. I gotta hold that, man. I'm just catching flowers over here.
Are you guys confirming that Rally Jackson will suck at MKX?
I mean, he probably sucks at Injustice, so.
I'm not
Dude
gonna
sucks at
comment.
arguing.
I just
Yeah,
wanted
that's
cool.
what I wanted to say. Yeah, I'll just stick to actual 2IM posting and say he sucks at that. So I've never seen him play, so I don't wanna have any preconceived notions.
Yo,
But-
bro. I mean, all Bane has to do is just take away your life bar, and then you're set.
Dude,
I mean, that is way out of the Bane mix-ups. Just lose that health bar. Alright.
my favorite status update he ever made. He's like, "Yeah, bro, Catwoman gets crushed by Bane because she sometimes has to guess on Wake Up or something like that." Whatever. Yeah, she sometimes has to guess on Wake Up. That's the problem. It makes it sound so easy.
I love TYM, man. I love TYM.
Why did you have to bring him up?
Oh, gosh.
I was on such a high having won this week, and then you bring up Raleigh Jackson. My God.
I wanted you to. I don't know. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it worked. Just saying that.
Don't you have some Halo to play, HomeLee, you scumbag?
Actually,
Oh.
God
God,
damn it.
Stay free to Halo downloads.
Too early tomorrow, but so it's okay. I wasn't gonna be able to play tonight anyways, because I like talking with you guys instead.
Gay.
Yeah, no. Cheap flattery is not gonna work. I'm sorry.
Bullshit, cheap flattery just worked 30 seconds ago.
How do you know that's why? That's not why he won. He had legitimate points.
Fly,
Talking about
I know.
Fly. We all know you deducted points because you're mad at me for not helping you out Destiny.
I mean,
So we already know you're biased.
Fly, are you mad that I have a level 30 Destiny character?
yes.
What does that even mean?
Yes, that makes me mad.
I think Fly's mad that Saucy Jack knows more about MKX than we do.
Oh my god, I swear
Holy.
to God.
Good thing you're alive.
Why are you doing this?
The next time Dude,
HomeLee is in super troll mode. I like it, actually.
Prime inbound. Good lord.
Oh my gosh. I mean, nobody talks to you about MKX over there, do they? Let's be real.
Chicago?
Yeah,
I know the same that everyone else does.
exactly. I mean, when I went to Chicago and hung out with you guys, I didn't learn shit. And my buddy who came with me was like super impressed that Steve was testing the game and was like asking him all these questions, and he was like, "Dude, I can't tell you anything. Stop asking."
Yeah, I mean, for all the fun that everyone has on the forums and, LOL, testers this and testers that and all the shenanigans, like, think about it for a second. Maybe I have a different perspective. As previously discussed on the show, I just got laid off from my job, so jobs stick with me really hard, but, like, this is GGA 16-Bit's actual career. This is how he keeps a roof over his head. So think about it for a second. Why would 16-Bit put his entire career in jeopardy by breaking a non-disclosure contract or whatever the agreement that he has to sign by telling me, I don't know, about Kano's frame data? Like, does that make any sense? This is this man's livelihood. It's ridiculous that people think that I know shit. It's borderline offensive.
Can I point out how awkward it feels whenever I read anybody asking 16-Bit anything about MKX? And they mostly do it in stream chats because somehow it might fly under the radar, you know what I mean? Like, he might sneak in a reply there. Like, first of all, are you that stupid that he's going to risk that by answering you? And secondly, it's awkward, dude. It really is super awkward. The other day, both 16-Bit and Paulo were in the stream chat, and people were asking 16-Bit about the game. Paulo's right there. I mean, what the heck?
It's ridiculous.
You know what else is weird? Is like, okay, you baited him into saying that Sub-Zero's down 4 is 9 frames. What are you going to do with that information?
Yeah.
That is literally useless information.
$20, that's Paulo texting Steve saying, "Hey, tell him it's 9 frames."
Yeah, so you now know the frames of Sub-Zero's down 4. Congratulations.
They're like, it was
And it
8
makes no
frames in
sense.
MK9. 9 frames will piss off Tom Brady.
You don't even know the context. You don't even know his other moves. Other characters move how fast or slow they are. So 9 frames devoid of any context means nothing.
It's ridiculous. Think about the arrogance for a second. The arrogance to believe that someone that you don't know but have talked to on the internet would be willing to put their livelihood on the line to answer a useless question for you. The arrogance, man. It's insulting. I have to give props to 16-Bit. I don't know how he deals with it. Like, that would drive me up a wall. I would be furious. I have to give him props for handling all that bullshit all the time. It would drive me nuts.
Well, 16-Bit is known for showing restraint.
That's why I give him props. In any other aspect of his life, he can't. He's always mad at video games. But
Exactly.
again, I don't think people understand. This is his job, man. This is what he does to eat on a daily basis. It is unbelievable that people think that he would put that at risk.
I don't think 60% of TYM even know what a job is.
I mean, plus, guys, we are all NRS testers playing to win bonus.
That's true.
Wait, what did you say? I couldn't hear you. You sounded like you're talking into a pillow.
I said we are all NRS testers because playing to win told us so. So it is so.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
We are all NRS testers.
Ken, I have a question. Do you think if somebody baits 16-Bit into revealing information about MKX and he gets fired, would he make a video and blame all his non-loyal fans?
Oh my god.
Acid bit.
Oh my
You know
gosh.
what? Actually, I would hope so, because unlike Acid Glow, where you're just putting out a product that the consumers don't want, this would be someone literally trying to bait him. And think about it. Think about you're at work, and for whatever reason, your information at work you can't share with other people. Like, any sort of company that tries to keep competitive intel away from their fucking competitors, as an example, and people are constantly harassing you to tell them, get the fuck out of here. All these people on 2IM that do have jobs, whatever the population, the percentages that have jobs, if someone was constantly harassing you, and then think about it, all you people on 2IM that are, if I could direct tweet or direct email your boss every time you said something on Test Your Might, seriously, is that what you want? Do you think that these people would want me to copy and paste some of the shit that they post on Test Your Might and send it directly to their boss? It's insane.
Yeah, I can't understand the nerve that some people have to even think about doing something like that. I mean, anyways, it's a debacle, and I feel bad for guys like Steve. Well, part of me doesn't, because he's got an awesome gig. It sounds pretty cool, but the other part of me hates that he's got to deal with the community on a real level. Like, it's hard to put yourself in the same boat as Ed Boon and Paulo and John Edwards and those guys that are everywhere they go. What they're known for is Mortal Kombat, and everywhere they go, guess what they get? Questions about the next Mortal Kombat game, and they just have to laugh it off and say, get the fuck out of here. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
To some random scrub I just met 2 seconds ago who's taking my order,
You guys, did I tell you about this? The other night I was super bored, and either Rio or PL were, actually PL, it was PL, he was streaming. So I was there in the stream, and there's this stream troll, but hey, like I said, I appreciate a dedicated troll, right? He name drops somebody who allegedly works for NRS and starts telling him how Kung Lao is confirmed and show us like this fake conversation and that he got emailed a Kung Lao picture. It was an amazing troll. I mean, nobody fell for it, but it was actually quite awesome how dedicated he was to the whole thing. So yeah, Kung Lao will be confirmed in January, according to him.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, he'd laugh at all of us when that happens. That's what he said. I was like,
well,
do you even have a TYM account? He's like, no. I do hope he's right, though.
The real question is, I mean, how many frames is his down 3?
Well, if it's anything like MK9, then it's going to be terrible.
I used to love Kung Lao.
Luckily, you had spin. I guess you were okay.
I'm fine. I managed just fine. You know, I even picked Kung Lao. Like, he's now my favorite character. He used to be among my favorites, but never, like, the favorite. I actually started picking him just because so I could anti-air online, because people were just driving me insane by jumping all over the place. I was like, you know what, I'll just pick him. And that's kind of how it started. So, yeah, I just wanted...
Make a thread demanding nerfs to jumps.
I mean, by the way, that was a talking point. Remember in MK9, like, oh, jumping is too powerful, you can't anti-air, you can't do shit, way before people started figuring out that pretty much every character has a solid anti-air normal. Some of them have sick anti-air normals. That's one of the talking points.
Unless you're trying to anti-air Katana's jump kick fan. Gosh. Can't anti-air that.
You know you can actually block the jump kick and then punish the fan, right?
Shut, I don't want to talk about it.
I'm just saying. Actually, that's a really good point on the MK9 anti-airs. Actually, MK9's anti-air system is probably broke. Like, everyone can anti-air with jabs and get full combos out of it. That's not a fighting game standard. That's an MK9 thing. Like, that's insane. In Street Fighter, you get a DP, and if you miss the invincibility frames on it, get stuffed or get traded. Like, maybe you have an uppercut, like a Crouching Fierce or something, but this concept of anti-airing it was an MK9 thing, that the standing jab anti-air. It's weird. The reason I bring it up is that was a big blow-up of Injustice by, the so-called smarty pantses, and I find it very interesting that when you're saying stuff like that, it's super obvious that you're actually not a smarty pants. MK9 was your first fighting game competitively, which is fine, but please don't act like you know everything, because in reality, what MK9 did was the exception, not the standard.
When I found out that you could anti-air with Nightwolf Standing 1, I remember thinking how stupid I was for not figuring that out sooner. And then I did it all the time.
Dude, Nightwolf Standing 1 was awesome.
It was.
It's weird, though. Like, even in Injustice, like, if you go back even before that initial Universal Down 2 patch, a lot of them were pretty damn serviceable.
Yep.
Like it's weird to think about it,
Aquamans.
but if you think about it in basic, no, not like just like Aquaman's. I mean, a lot of people. But if you think about it, all it is you're just making a faster move, beating the jump. Like that's all it is. Most of the down twos are 9 to 10 frames. They do the job, especially like Green Lantern and Superman's and all those other ones. I think people got bought into the narrative too much. I think.
I think
part
people
of it-
say Superman's down 2 is a bill, though.
No, his down 2 is fine. Who says it's a bill?
A lot of people say it was a bill. I need to stop
Look.
listening to UIM.
I mean, Superman's down 2 isn't Aquaman. It's not hot,
Serviceable.
whatever. But I mean, it's fine. It loses to certain jumps at certain angles. But I mean, Superman's
Dude,
preemptive
do you
jump
know who's
is
down
one of
2
the,
is broke?
who?
Deathstrokes.
Yeah, Deathstroke's down 2 is pretty good.
I mean, it's all right.
Aww.
It's not broke.
Dude,
It's good, dude. It's more than all right.
mean, it's all right.
It's
Hippo.
Hippo's definitely trolling.
M2 Hippo, will you calm down, please?
All I remember is when Hippo was on the KTP, he kept talking about down 2 all the time, and I was like, all right, I need to give that more of a try. That's actually, seriously, that's how I picked up Deathstroke and started playing it. Just Hippo wouldn't stop about his down 2. I was like, oh, okay, me playing Batman and being kinda having a complex that I can't anti consistently. And down 2 that's plus on block, yeah, it's all right. It's like his zoning's whatever according to Switch, so that's sort of like that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and it's the scare thing. It would be interesting if we could go back right now, take all the knowledge and all the skill that we have in Injustice, and go back to day 1 patch and play it. What we wouldn't change.
Yeah,
I've never
interesting.
done that, so I can't say that, obviously we need to get rid of this down 2 buff or whatever, but it's possible that a lot of characters did not need that universal buff.
Yup.
Well, not everybody got it though. Remember, I mean, even though the buff was called universal, it didn't actually. Some characters down 2s were not actually buffed. Pablo said that. Like Grundy, Aquaman. It's even though it's called a universal buff, it's a misconception. It's sort of like
Grundy and Aquaman didn't get any buffs to their down.
yeah, well, obviously, but it's quasi universal.
Grundy's down 2 is a bill.
Get what?
Get the hell out of here! I mean, I guess it has no horizontal range at all, but still, get out of here.
It's a bill.
Are you serious right now? You have to be trolling.
It's a bill, man. It's only good if I can get in, which I can't do. So, don't jump over me. That's
I mean, ultimately, why would you even use that?
what, down 2?
Yeah, just air throw.
Hey, he's got a 5 frame
you get a
grab.
full comp. Yeah, but I mean, why wouldn't you? You do down 2 to 1/1 that thing. What's the special move called?
Swamp Hands.
Yeah, Swamp
Yeah.
Hands, and you get the reset. So it's bigger reward.
Well, the issue with air throws, if you're on the wrong side of me when I do it, I get the little knife spin that's super punishable. So
Maybe you
Plus,
just need to get good.
Yeah, maybe you need to level up, son.
I'm just talking about down 2.
Isn't his down 2 your fastest counter poke
Yeah.
plus the tick throw?
Yeah, but the tick throw is easily avoidable, and if your down 1 has a slightest bit of pushback, it'll whiff. So it doesn't really work as a counter poke very well sometimes.
Do you guys think Grundy is underrated?
I think he's all right.
Grundy is super polarizing. That topic could be very controversial. I've heard people say, with that damage, how is this character not good? I've also heard people say he's a huge bill. I would err on the side of he is
Unity.
the bottom half of the tier list. I don't think Grundy is that great of a character, but in fairness, I actually don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because we don't have a Grundy in Chicago, so I'm only theory crafting. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, but it appears to me that he has some struggles and is probably in the lower half of the cast.
Agreed.
Doesn't Haruza play him a little bit on the side?
No one talks about Bruce's Grundy.
Fair enough.
Much like Sly's Grundy. Ooh.
Oh, my Grundy's decent, man. I still play him.
Fruza's Grundy. Fruza will tell you himself. Actually, Fruza, after you listen to this, do us a favor and post in the thread. Is your Grundy the worst in the scene? I'm gonna say he says
Wait,
yes.
worse than Waffles, Grundy? Remember when Waffles used to say if he could do
do
walking
corpse
corpse cancel, yeah, as good as Tyrant, he'd be awesome.
I would
That's
say
like-
Cruz. Okay, I love this man to death. He's very funny and he's good, but he will also admit that there's a huge blow up. Cruz's Grundy gets bodied by Panty Christ. I rest my case.
Damn.
I love you,
You
Panty.
just blew up
You-
both Cruiser and Panic Price. I mean, but sure, okay.
I mean, it's cool. It is what it is. I love both you two. Panty, move home.
I mean,
Yeah, where did he go? I miss him.
He moved to Colorado. He moved with some lady friend of his, and he said, "Fuck justice, I'm out of here. I'm going to a state with legalized marijuana."
He has made.
Yeah, well,
the
I mean,
smart decision.
If I made Joker, yeah, I'd go somewhere where I can smoke pot and have sex pretty much whenever I want. So yeah,
What logic is that?
it's pretty sound logic. He moved with I would give priority to my girlfriend and pot over the Joker.
I mean,
Fuck
well,
that.
actually, I think you guys are all wrong. Here's why. Because I think he actually secretly moved to Colorado. He was like, I need to get better at justice. I need to embrace all things Joker. So he got a lady friend, a Harley Quinn, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Moved to Colorado.
Sulface?
Yeah,
God
yes.
damn.
Sulfate. You got
Damn.
sulfate. William Butler went with him. He went to Colorado, where lest we forget, there was that horrible shooting. God rest all of their souls. But the guy who did it was a Joker. He called himself the Joker and wanted to be like him. Maybe he's embracing the evil spirits of Colorado.
I would
And
say
when he
that's a
comes
bit of a
back-
reach.
And when he
Yeah.
comes back to GTA, he will body all of you.
That's a little bit of a stretch there, Hippo.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think you guys need to watch out.
I can only hope there would actually. I'm trying to think of random Injustice GBS moments that would make me happier. I can't think of one. Then Panny coming back, being like, "What's up, guys?" and then destroying everybody. That would that would be awesome.
He takes off his winter coat, which actually weighs 1,000 pounds. It's been weighing him down.
Yeah,
He takes it off, and now he's free to body all of you.
that would be one of the most magical moments a fighting game has ever produced. I'm actually now openly cheering for that.
I wonder if
Because
his
of
girlfriend
the
ever asked him,
phobia
"Hey,
being-
what's your gamer tag in your fighting games?" Panty Christ. I wonder how that conversation went.
I mean, didn't you meet her at KIT?
I don't remember.
Panty's girl's cool.
might have
She's
the best
still-
avatar on TYM.
His avatar is tight.
Yeah, his avatar is awesome. Even his gamer tag is awesome.
Shoutouts to unplanned 7-minute Panty Christ moments.
Well,
Is that what his girlfriend says? Oh,
Oh,
Oh, Panty.
I'm about out of
Panty.
juice though, guys. I'm about to lose it right here and fall asleep.
Packing it up.
Yeah, I think so. I got to get up in like 5 hours.
Well then,
Damn, I'm the winner. I
lost-
didn't get my 1 minute uninterrupted speech.
Oh, you're right. I'm so
No,
sorry.
no, that's fine. You can go to bed, Flies.
No, I can't wait to hear this.
Wait, he's about to call out Riley Jackson. Go.
no, I actually don't have anything planned.
I didn't have anything planned. You go. You got 1 minute. I'm gonna set my timer right now.
All right. You know what? I blew up a lot of people on this podcast, and that wasn't my intention to use this as a medium, just because I could be set off. So I'll be positive. Honestly, when we first posted this, first of all, we were kind of overwhelmed by how positive the whole reaction was. We didn't anticipate this. Somebody posted, "Give me KTP," and that inspired this, by the way. Yes, I would gladly exchange my bid on this podcast for the return of KDP, because I also think KTP was, especially for Injustice, even though we always associate the hype with MK9 and the final round thing, I think it was one of the most beneficial things for the Injustice scene as far as keeping the game relevant, keeping the game hype, having top 8 placers on the KTP, not just entertainment and Slips' weird fetishes and sex stories and all of that, but beyond that, and actually talking to people about the game and how characters work and teaching us things that they were preaching about a year ago that just a few months ago players started playing. So I just want to give, honestly, special shout-outs to the KTP for being the gold standard of podcasting in the NRS community. and we all miss you, for real. That was kind of corny as hell, but it's genuinely from the heart.
Well, that was your 1 minute of uninterrupted opportunity, so we have to hold that.
Well, there you go.
Well, Fly, you have to do your hostly duty and shut this bitch down now. Give everyone the goodbye and try not to fall asleep while you're doing it, baby girl.
So, thank you for listening to episode 2 of Consider the Following. Thank you to my guests, King Hippo, Saucy Jack, HomeLee, and Cool Whip. You guys are awesome. I appreciate your time. TYM, Fighting Game Community, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on Consider the Following.